Hope. It dreams big, like really, really big. Hope sees potential when others don't. Whoa! And it can see the future. Hope is the boss of its money, but it knows what really matters. Hope is day one. Hope is everywhere you look. At Bank of Hope, we have the tools, guidance, and you got it, hope for whatever you want to achieve. So come in. Welcome to Bank of Hope.
꿈 많은 우리 자녀, 대학 갈 때 돈 걱정 때문에 최선이 아닌 차선을 선택하게 된다면 얼마나 안타까울까요? 학자금 정책에 대해서 정보가 부족해 부모의 은퇴 플랜을 깨트려가며 대학을 보내시는지요? 부모의 은퇴도 안전하게, 아이들 학자금도 푸짐하게 한 번에 준비할 수 있는 재정상담과 플랜이 절실합니다. 여러분은 자녀의 성적만 케어하십시오. 자녀의 학자금은 문선영의 머니토크가 케어하겠습니다.
Feeling overwhelmed by the college admissions process? Pause and breathe. Admission Masters is here to illuminate your path to success. Our mission? To arm you with strategic tools and tailored advice that unlock your potential and sculpt your academic future. Picture our counselors as your personal navigators, expertly steering you through the admissions maze while amplifying your unique strengths. Remember, education is more than just grades. It's about comprehensive growth. We're committed to nurturing both your academic prowess and personal development, ensuring you're well-rounded for the journey ahead. Embark on your college admissions journey with Admission Masters, where our experience, dedication, and commitment to your success converge to transform your application into something truly extraordinary. Are you ready to reach new heights and turn your dreams into reality? Let's achieve greatness together.
AGM은 미국 내 최고 수준의 학자금 재정 프로그램과 아이비 대학 연구진의 ARIP AI 인공지능 인턴십 프로그램을 운영하고 있습니다. 아이비 출신의 최고 강사진이 직접 지도하는 과외 프로그램과 글로벌 리서치 프로그램으로 자녀의 성적 향상을 책임집니다.
미주 최초로 자체 개발한 고객관리 시스템과 1,900개 대학 이상의 각종 데이터베이스를 여러분과 공유하겠습니다.
지금 바로 웹사이트에 방문해보세요. 자녀의 미래가 달라집니다.
Hi, my name is Est, head college counselor at A1 College Prep. Just as college admissions committees in the U.S. utilize a holistic, comprehensive review process to evaluate student applications, at A1 College Prep we guide students using an individualized, multifaceted approach. Currently, we're offering a scholarship opportunity for eligible students for up to $5,000. Please reach out to us here for any inquiries and to learn more about this scholarship program.
전문적인 리서치와 차별화된 접근 방법, 이경희 이민법 변호사, 투자이민의 EB5의 풍부한 경험에 이경희 변호사와 체계화된 멘토 시스템으로 철저히 교육받은 직원들이 여러분의 이민법 케이스를 도와드립니다.
이경희 변호사 사무실은 한 번 맡은 케이스는 끝까지 책임집니다. 항상 세밀하고 정확한 일처리로 고객분을 성심껏 도와드리겠습니다. 저희 사무실을 믿고 맡겨주시면 여러분의 케이스를 성공으로 이끌겠습니다.
투자이민 전문 이경희 이민법 변호사.
Hello and welcome everyone. I'm so excited to kick off the 16th Korea Times College Expo, the biggest and best college admissions event for the Korean American community. I'm Jenny Wheatley. I'm going to be your host today, president of the Admission Masters. We're going to guide you through everything you need to know today to win the college admissions game. We're thrilled to have students and parents tuning in from all over the world. This is why we're bringing the expo to you virtually once again this year. The Korea Times College Expo has grown into the premier destination for trusted insights on college admissions, academics, extracurriculars, and financial aid. We've got an incredible lineup of speakers for you today. Experts who will be diving deep into what it really takes to stand out in today's competitive admissions and financial aid process. So grab a notebook, stay tuned, and soak up all the game-changing advice coming your way. None of this would be possible without our generous sponsors. A big thank you to our special sponsor, Bank of Hope, and our main sponsor, Admission Masters, for making this year's event possible. We'd also like to thank Ivorywood Education, AGM Institute, A1 College Prep, Law Offices of Kyunghee Lee, 문선영의 Money Talk for supporting this year's event. We are live on YouTube right now, so send the link to your friends and family. Have them join us from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. today Pacific time. If you're registered, or if you are already registered at koreatimes.com/college expo, you're automatically entered into our raffle prizes. We're giving away some amazing prizes, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. You can also find us by searching 미주 한국일보 College Expo on YouTube. If you haven't signed up yet and you haven't registered, don't worry. Head to the comment section of YouTube. We've actually pinned it at the top for your convenience, so you can check it out. Click on that and register so that you can automatically get into our raffles today. If you have a question throughout our entire workshop and College Expo today, drop it in the YouTube live chat. I'll be picking a few questions to answer during each Q&A session, so feel free to ask any questions that you have. Okay, for those of you who have already registered, listen up. We're running a huge lottery giveaway today. 2 lucky winners will walk away with $250 each, and 28 other will win $20 gift cards. After every seminar, we'll pick 6 winners, and at the end of the day, we'll draw the final 12. So stay with us for your chance to win. If your email was called during our raffles, we will be contacting you via email so you can claim your prize. All right, now let's officially kick off the 16th Korea Times College Expo. We'll be back after this short commercial break, so grab your water, take a quick break, and get ready for an amazing day of expert advice.
Hope. It dreams big, like really, really big. Hope sees potential when others don't. Whoa! And it can see the future. Hope is the boss of its money, but it knows what really matters. Hope is day one. Hope is everywhere you look. At Bank of Hope, we have the tools, guidance, and you got it, hope for whatever you want to achieve. So come in. Welcome to Bank of Hope.
꿈 많은 우리 자녀, 대학 갈 때 돈 걱정 때문에 최선이 아닌 차선을 선택하게 된다면 얼마나 안타까울까요? 학자금 정책에 대해서 정보가 부족해 부모의 은퇴 플랜을 깨트려가며 대학을 보내시는지요? 부모의 은퇴도 안전하게, 아이들 학자금도 푸짐하게 한 번에 준비할 수 있는 재정 상담과 플랜이 절실합니다. 여러분은 자녀의 성적만 케어하십시오. 자녀의 학자금은 문선영의 머니토크가 케어하겠습니다.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. So I'm very excited to introduce myself. I'll be kicking off the Korea Times College Expo today. We're going to be talking about winning the college admissions game. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Jenny Wheatley. I am the president of Admission Masters. Very excited to share a lot of really good information. I was a former admissions officer at multiple universities, and currently I serve as the president at Admission Masters. Very excited to share with you guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with our very first webinar. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about winning the college admissions game. We're actually going to be looking inside admitted students' applications, so I can give you a really good idea of what it is that admission officers are looking for. So let's go ahead and get started. Just a quick agenda piece here really quickly. So I'm going to talk about some key admissions trends for 2025, some policy shifts under the Trump administration, and and most specifically, how does this impact you? And then, of course, we'll talk about standing out when it comes to academics, extracurriculars, and your personal narrative. We're going to look inside case studies of students and kind of let you know what those students have done, what they did to stand out. And then I'll give you guys some application strategies and timelines for you to look at as well. So once again, if you have any questions during my webinar right now, please go ahead and type it into the Q&A, and you can just chat it into the YouTube chat, and I'd be more than happy to answer that for you. Okay, so let's start with some key admissions trends. So one of the things that I really want to mention is that test optional is here to stay. But the thing is, a lot of top applicants, they really still submit strong test scores, and some colleges still require scores. So even if colleges say that they are test optional, a lot of top applicants are still submitting really strong scores. In fact, last year with admissions, students who got admitted to Ivy Leagues, even when they were test optional for some of those colleges, 75% of students who were admitted to the school not only submitted a test score, but they were like a SAT or ACT, but they were also in the top 75th percentile of those test scores, which means for the ACT, it's probably around a 34. And for the ACT, it's around a 34. The SAT is around a 1540. So if you are looking to go to a school that's fairly top tier and they say that they're still test optional, keep in mind that a lot of students who are you're going to be competing against are still going to be submitting really high scores. So you want to make sure that you're preparing that as well. And then there are fewer international admits at public U.S. colleges due to budget cuts and budget shifts. So I'm sure you guys have been kind of following, many of you may have been following the educational policies and things that have changed under the Trump administration. But one of those things are budget shifts. And because of that, there's going to be less international students being admitted, particularly this year. So if you're a student that still lives in the United States and have gone to high school in the United States, however, you have an F1 visa, or you are a student who lives overseas, like in Korea or somewhere else, and you don't have a permanent residency or citizenship in the United States, that is unfortunately going to make it a little bit harder for you to get admitted to universities, particularly in the US, particularly this year. The other thing is that there has been an increase of AI usage in application review. So especially at large universities where they're going to have to look at a lot of college applications, what a lot of schools are doing are using AI as a way of reviewing the applications. I'll go into that in a little bit because I know some students are kind of worried that, well, if an AI is reviewing, my application, then how are they really going to know me as a person? I'll talk about that in a little bit. So it's not really that big of an issue as you think it is. And then there is a stronger preference for applicants with demonstrated impact. So if you're a student and you know that you're going to be doing early decision, you have a dream school that you really want to get into, it is super important just to make sure that you're showing demonstrated interest and also demonstrated impact. I'll be talking about both of those things. And then lastly, obviously, authenticity in essays and activities are really important. We'll dive into that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. I just wanted to start with talking about the fact that a lot of colleges use holistic admissions in their college application review process, which means they're not just looking at your academics and your GPA and your test scores, but they're also looking at the excellence, so the rigor of those courses. They're also looking at depth when it comes to your extracurricular activities, your personal narrative. Letters of recommendations have actually gotten more important in the past couple of years. And so they've had more weight on the application. And then the overall institutional fit is another thing that they also look at as well. So how well do you fit in the university? How well will your personality and your experiences add value to our university is another thing that they look at as well. Okay, so with this holistic admissions, how do I differentiate myself? How do I make myself stand out? How do I make myself look different from other, students and applicants that I'm competing against? So just to start, the first thing I would highly recommend is to build depth over breadth. Colleges really want to see that you're going deeply into a particular field or interest that you have, or passion or talent, rather than having multiple things that you're interested in and kind of spreading yourself out a bit more. It's really important to build a spike, and I'll talk to you guys about a spike because I have been talking about spikes with my students for a long time. So I will talk to you guys about what a spike is. I will even tell you what spikes look like in real applications. And I would also recommend to create something of your own that's unique, like a research paper or project, a business, an app, a nonprofit, a publication, right? Things that you can build that are unique to you that adds color could actually show that spike, right? And that's a way for you to differentiate yourself. You also want to lead with values. I talk about this a lot with my students too, but your story should really show the impact rooted in your story. I'll give you examples of that in a moment. And then you also want to emphasize global perspective and cultural agility. What that means is you want to show college admissions that you are this student who is very aware of what's going around in the world, that you are agile and you're making an impact and understanding the cultural differences and embracing those things as well. And you also want to use your essays to connect the dots. So the essays are the one piece, the puzzle piece that kind of brings everything together. It's the opportunity for you to tell your story, and we'll dive into that as well. So 5 different ways to differentiate yourself. I think there's a lot of unique pieces that you can bring out in your application, which I'll dive into. So first, let's talk about academic excellence. When it comes to academic excellence, it's more than just your grades. Yes, you can have a pretty high GPA. Maybe you have a 4.0 unweighted GPA. But academic excellence is more than that, right? Academic excellence is taking the most rigorous courses at your school, which is super important. A lot of colleges really care about how difficult your courses were in high school. So honors, IB, HL, AP exams, AP classes, those are all things that you definitely want to add. And you want to aim for academic honors as well. So you want to make sure that you are getting national and international academic honors and prize and placement, like top 10%, going to Olympiads and getting national awards. Those also show the level of understanding that you have and your intellectual curiosity in that particular field as well. You also want to explore academic interests outside of the classroom. If you are a student who's really passionate about biology and you know that your school only has AP Bio, Honors Bio, but you want to go into other biology, organic biology, molecular, cellular biology, and you really want to delve into those further, it's good to take classes outside of school to showcase that, right? Because when you do those things, it tells college admission officers how passionate you are about that particular field or your major. So it's super important to keep that in mind as well. So academics, more than GPA. Okay, so let's dive into Spike. Once again, I have a lot of students who ask, what can I do to make myself stand out? What makes me different? And one of the things that we help at Admission Masters is to really help students develop that Spike. And that could be an independent project, like I mentioned, a research, an app, a business. So many different things that you can do, but a spike is showcasing a deep expertise or an impact in one particular field or area. Once again, when I go into the other case studies and the student applicants who got admitted to good colleges recently, I'll show you what their spike was, because I think you'll have a really good idea of how to develop that spike as well, if you're someone that's thinking about it. Okay, so there's 4 examples that I'll give you about building a spike. These are students that, I've had, recently, even students that got into Ivy Leagues and top tier universities just recently as well. So one of those students taught climate justice workshops for middle school students. So she created lesson plans, and she did a 5-week workshop, a hands-on learning opportunity for students to learn climate justice, particularly with middle school students. At the end of those 5 weeks of the workshop, they actually created an action plan where they developed some sort of project that they would actively implement into their community. I had another student that launched a mental health initiative across 3 countries. the student was really passionate about the rising challenges of mental health as well as depression. And so with different countries in Brazil and Korea and the United States, the student launched a mental health initiative where they did a month-long mental health workshops with guest speakers. They did campaigns. They did wellness workshops for students like to do yoga to relieve stress. So these all things that the student kind of organized and put together for these countries. We also had a student that built an AI model to detect misinformation. As you know, there are, a lot of misinformation out there. You actually don't know, and a lot of people don't know what's true and what's not. And so what he did was code an AI model that you can add to your, Google Chrome, or you can add as an attachment, and it allows them to detect misinformation. So that was a really good spike. And the last one was children's book publication. So this student was really good at art as well as writing. And so she wrote a book about encouraging self-autonomy, wrote a children's book. And I say this because, you can write a children's book and illustrate a children's book, but one of the most important thing is, how are you spreading that book? How are you getting other people to read it? How are you getting other people to explore self-autonomy? And those things are really important. The student ended up donating over 1,000 books to local libraries and elementary schools, and did read-alongs and did presentations of their books. So they really tried not just to write the book, but also to really showcase that to their community as well. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, essays are an opportunity for you to put it all together. So what do admission officers want when they read your essays? Number one, they really want to see and hear your voice, your values, your self-awareness, right? How much are you aware of what's going on in the community? What is your personality like beyond what you have in your extracurricular activities? And they really want to see specific stories, right? Don't be broad, not generic accomplishments. I actually have a lot of students who are like, wait, should I put that I won this competition and I got first place in this? And, I tell those students, you have a space for that in the actual application when they ask for honors and awards, and you can talk about it in your extracurriculars. Your essays are the time where you should talk about the why, right? Why did you do those things? Why did you end up, competing? What did you learn from that experience? How did you grow from that? Those specific stories, things that admission officers will not be able to know just by looking at your accomplishments, is really important to talk about in your essays. So don't use essays as an extended version of your resume. Think of your essay as the final puzzle piece that will be added into your application to make your application whole, to make your application make sense. Okay, that's really important. Okay, so key questions you should ask yourself when you're thinking about your essays. Number one, are you demonstrating growth, right? Colleges really care about students who have learned something through their journey. It doesn't always have to be that you've overcome some sort of crazy challenge, but have you learned something? Have you grown since the last time, that you either had a challenge or had your last accomplishment? That growth is really important. And also, how will you continue to grow is also really important. And have you highlighted something that we could only learn through this essay? As I mentioned earlier, essays are an opportunity for that last puzzle piece. So it's really good for admission officers to know, is there something I'm learning about the student through this essay that I otherwise would not have known about them, is really important. And are you presenting yourself in a compelling way? You are still selling yourself to college admissions, right? You have to sell to college admission officers what an amazing person and student you are, how much you have grown and want to grow, how well you'll collaborate in their university, what you'll do for them, and how they'll support you throughout their process, your future endeavors. All of those things are really important. So we are, the essays should bring all of those elements together. If you are a current 9th grade, 10th grade student or parent that's here right now, you do want to think about these questions, right? Am I presenting myself in a compelling way? What are some things and qualities about myself that I can really share to other people, right? This is really important to consider. Okay, recommendation letters. As I mentioned earlier, recommendation letters have added so much more weight in the college application process. I would say even 3 to 4 years ago, recommendation letters only made up about maybe 5% of the overall weight of a college application. Now, the weight of a recommendation letter is even at some schools up to 20%. So this is something really important to understand, because admission officers find it really valuable and important to learn an unbiased perspective about you as a student. And so they feel like even though you can write everything in and talk about the accomplishments and dive into those things, they still want to see what someone else says about you and your qualities. Okay, so recommendation letters are really important. Think about who you are closest to. My students always ask me, well, who should I ask? Do I have to ask my math and English teachers? Does it have to be from a core teacher? The reality is it doesn't have to be from a core teacher. It could be from, a Spanish teacher or history teacher, even if you're not going into those majors. The most important thing is how close you are with that recommender. What is your relationship like with them? Will they be able to speak a lot about you as a student, not just in the classroom, but outside of the classroom? And that's also an important aspect as well. In order to give that information and make sure that your teachers can talk about those things, you want to make sure you give them a resume. Sometimes they ask for a brag sheet or a teacher rec form. What you put on those forms are incredibly important. Okay, so if you have teacher recs that you're considering and you're thinking about, they might have forms that they ask you to fill out. Please take your time to fill out those forms with as much information as you possibly can, because what you put on that form is what will go into their teacher recommendation letters, and that's going to add really big value to your application. I also recommend letting the teachers know to highlight some of your unique characteristics and qualities, things like intellectual curiosity, your collaborative skills, critical thinking. These are things that most colleges really want to see. So showcasing that and having your counselor kind of go into that and talk about that and give reasons and examples of you showcasing that is really important. Okay, let's talk about standardized tests. I know a lot of high school students are super busy and they don't know if they want to spend the time like working on the SAT or ACT, because you're like, Jenny, they're test optional. Why do I, have to, worry about the SAT or ACT? So for those of you who are in the, limbo of, should I submit my score or not? Do I keep trying for the SAT or ACT? Like where should I be at this point? So when it comes to SAT and ACT, you only want to submit scores if they are strong. And when I say strong, obviously that really depends on the college, because depending on the type of college or the level of college you want to go to, whatever their 75th percentile score is for admitted students, you want to make sure that you are meeting at least that 75th percentile. So the SAT, ACT, only submit it if they are strong. TOEFL, IELTS, those are only for international applicants. So if you go to a school in another country outside of the US that English isn't, the language of instruction, or it is, but some colleges still require you to take the TOEFL because you live in another country that doesn't speak English. Those obviously tests matter. And then AP IB exam scores, obviously that's really important because it does strengthen your overall academic profile. I would also say that if you are a student that has, some B's and maybe a little bit of a lower GPA or academic record from school, you more so want to submit higher AP scores and SAT or ACT scores so you can balance out your academics a little bit when you're submitting your college applications. Okay. With that, I wanted to talk about a couple things that are changing under Trump because all of these kind of things matter. I think it's really important for everyone to understand the different educational policy changes that are happening within the United States, and sometimes they're happening fairly quickly. So I'll talk to you about what's changing and how this could impact you. So first of all, I mentioned earlier, there are potential rollbacks on international student visa support. So it is possible that you get admitted to a college, but then your visa doesn't come out in time, and then you don't end up being able to come to the school in the US. There may be delays in that visa support, F1, H1B, things like that. So you just have to be really mindful of that and just be careful. And another reason why it's going to be difficult for international students to get admitted this year because of what's happening with the international realm and student visa support. There are cuts to DEI, so diversity, equity, inclusion programs, which means a lot of colleges will be focusing on the merit of the student. They'll be looking at the student, not on diversity, equity, inclusion, and not looking at ethnicity, cultural background so much as just how much do they qualify for a school, looking at your academics, your test scores, and of course your extracurricular accomplishments. Which leads me to a renewed emphasis on merit-based admissions over holistic factors. Before the Trump administration, there were a lot of holistic factors that went into college admissions, including your ethnicity and cultural background. But now, colleges must move away from that and go into more of that merit-based admissions process. There's pros and cons in both, I would say, but that's something that is changing under the Trump administration. Okay, so just something I want to leave you with. When it comes to preparation, strong academics plus a standout story is your best defense, okay? Strong academics and a standout story. And those things you can showcase through your extracurriculars, your essays, and your teacher recommendation letters as well. So how do we respond strategically to kind of what's going on and the uncertainties within the education realm? You want to apply to a balanced list of schools. So make sure that you're not too top heavy. You don't have a ton of really, really difficult schools to get accepted into, but you're really balancing it out with, tough schools to get into and also safer schools that you would most likely get into as well. So you can have an array of colleges that you would be having options for. You also want to be sure to articulate your value and story very clearly in your essays and your interviews. Interviews are something a lot of students are going to have to practice. And you want to plan ahead. Again, if you are an international student, there may be visa delays. So you want to make sure that you're planning ahead to making sure that you are covering all your bases to make sure that you can come to the United States and go to school here. And then track policy shifts. Things are changing very quickly. I look at higher education news every single day, and this is probably the first year where I've noticed so many changes almost every day, every other day, or weekly, whether that's another lawsuit or another policy or another college that changes their policy. There are things that are changing very consistently. So track your policy shifts, make sure that you're being flexible and kind of seeing what's happening within the education realm. Okay, let's go in to two admitted applicants, and I'll tell you guys about their background and what they did. But what I actually want to focus on is their spike, and I really want to showcase to you guys what that spike looks like and how these students develop the spike as well. And just once again, if you have any questions, please feel free to chat it in the YouTube chat box. I'll answer some questions towards the end, and you're more than welcome to ask in Korean too. I can read it and answer in Korean as well. So please feel free to ask any questions that you have here. Okay, so let's look at one of my admitted former students. He got admitted to Harvard and he ended up going there. He did get admitted to a bunch of other really great schools, but he did end up going to Harvard. This student had a 4.5 weighted GPA, super score for their SAT of a 1550. They basically got 5s on all of the AP exams that they were taking or that they have taken, and they wanted to major in public policy and education. So let's look at some of their standout activities, okay? So this student was the CASC president, state president, which is for the entire state of California. It's like a student council. They founded an organization called Film Envisioned, where they helped students in underserved communities, and they created this project where they helped them kind of become screenwriters and can film and use camera and kind of teach them the artistic aspect of that. Interned as the vice mayor, interned for a campaign for senator, Bank of America student leader, CEO Leadership Alliance intern, and the YA program curriculum developer. So you can just see right by looking at their standout activities that clearly this student was passionate about public policy and education. All of their activities revolved around that. They were pushing for policies to better education opportunities. They were building educational platforms and programs to help underserved communities. You can see very clearly the different types of standout activities that they did that really made them showcase how passionate they are about public policy and education. Recommendation letters. So they ended up getting their recommendation letters from the English and history teachers, highlighting their passion for the subject, natural leadership in the classroom and community. One of the teachers mentioned that this student was the type of person they have never witnessed in their 15 years of teaching. They also talked about his compassion, how driven he is. He's proactive and advocates for his community members and peers. In his essay, he talked about, I'm just going to read you a little part of his conclusion. Everyone truly deserves a home built through the bricks of human compassion. While my home has a long way to being fully built, I'll continue on this journey, ready to provide the building blocks of life and restore the shared connections of humanity. And this was a very clear theme in his entire application, actually. He kind of talks a lot about different aspects of the reason why he wants to build educational policies, the reason why he went into education, and wanting to build shared connections was a very consistent theme. And his spikes were, first, he basically combined his talent and passion for writing and humanities to develop the program Film Envision. So he clearly showed what his talents were in and were able to create a program that really highlighted that. And he led the state of California high school students in developing educational policies to support low-income students. So once again, he was actively going to Sacramento, writing bills with senators and really trying to get more opportunities for low-income students, and was successful at that. Let's look at my next student. So this student got admitted to UC Berkeley's MET program. If any of you have a good balance of business and computer science or engineering experiences, the UC Berkeley MET program is very, very difficult to get accepted into, but it's very unique and the program is really fantastic. So definitely recommend looking into it. But the student got into the UC Berkeley MET program, also had a very high GPA of a 4.86 weighted. They actually went test optional, but also for UC Berkeley, UCs, they don't require the SAT, but for all of their private schools, they also got admitted to Cornell, Dartmouth, and for all of those schools, they also went no SAT or ACT. And you'll see that they have kind of a range of AP test scores, 3s in chemistry, calc, BC, and bio, 4s in comp sci, calc, AB, and Spanish and research, and then 5s in world history, seminar, Lang, and U.S. history. The student chose majors in data science, statistics, and industrial engineering. She did also a really good balance of business activities as well. She was president for Girls Who Code, FBLA president, and also 3 times national finalist. She created an organization called She Sparked, where she focused on providing empowerment to young girls and building business leadership skill sets. She also founded an organization called Ingenuity, where she created kits that she was sending to communities in underserved areas that they can build small engineering projects at home. She interned at the Energy Umbrella. She got the Gold Award for Girl Scouts. She did the UCI Gaddy Beam and researched wearable sensors. She also went to Cosmos. She got her recommendation letters from English and math teachers, and those teachers highlighted her creativity and passion to use her creativity to make an impact. Also talked about about her innate intellectual curiosity, the fact that she always goes above and beyond what she learned in the classroom. And she also, the teachers also shared a story about how the student always approaches their peers and friends and students with kindness and compassion. A little bit of the essay here. As I enter new arenas, I bring a profound commitment to opening the gates for others because I know that being part of a minority requires a stronger and louder voice. It means channeling more grit and determination to fearlessly stand up and become a majority. This student's theme for their application was kind of this minority, kind of, she was a girl in a fairly male-dominated field, whether that's business or engineering. She always felt like she was a minority, and how she wanted to empower other minorities to, explore these interests as well and be unapologetically themselves. Their spike, as I mentioned, was utilizing the minority female story to combine with community impact projects, and they had a really good balance of passions in business, STEM, and humanities. Once again, both of these students had a really amazing spike, and they had this story and theme that was very consistent throughout their application, their activities. And so at Admission Masters, when we start with a student, we kind of start with building that spike, because everything else that goes around it can be built around the spike. But having that to make sure that you really stand out is a really important aspect of building your application. Okay, so ask yourself, when it comes to building a spike and your application, a cohesive narrative. What is the common thread across my academics, activities, and writing? What is that piece that's bringing everything together? What do I want admission officers to remember about me when they're looking at my application? And you want to build your application like a story. You want it to be consistent and meaningful and personal, so that when they're looking at your application, everything kind of makes sense. It's like a whole picture that comes together is really important. Okay, so a couple of final thoughts before I just answer the question that we have here. Number one, be intentional and not performative. I know in our world today, it's so hard not to be fixated on performance culture and trying to be like the best academically, the best, and getting all the awards that you possibly can. But being performative should come second to being intentional. Be intentional to your interests. Be intentional to your passions. Be intentional about the activities and the things that you do, and the performance will come. But being intentional is really important. And also focus on the impact that you have in the activity, not just the participation. How can I use my community organization or my club to genuinely make an impact in my community is really the first and foremost question that you should be asking yourself when you're building a club or you're a president for an organization. Use your cultural lens to your advantage. You want to make sure that you showcase to admissions that you are very diverse and you understand the importance of embracing diverse cultures, and that you have this lens that you're able to see beyond the small bubble in which you were in. And I think that being able to see beyond that is also really important. Once again, stay informed about policy changes. I would say those things change very regularly, so you want to make sure that you are staying informed about that. And it's never too early to begin reflecting. Even if you're in 9th grade, even if you're in 8th grade, even if you're a parent of an 8th or 7th grader, reflection is so important because that builds your essays, it builds your story, it leads to the spike. Okay, so think about it, have moments of reflecting. If you don't have a journal, I would spend 5-10 minutes just writing down journaling about your day and what you've learned and your experiences and your highlights and your happiness and joy and your frustrations, because those emotional kind of vulnerability could also lead to really, really great spikes and building projects in the future as well. Okay, so with that being said, my screen is not changing. I'll go ahead and just take a couple of questions. I do want to let you guys know once again, my name is Jenny from Admission Masters. You can hit this QR code if you want to book a consultation with us. We'll walk you through building that spike and making you stand out amongst your peers, making sure that you have the highest chances of getting admitted, making sure that you are supported along the way to be able to tell your story. So just one really quick question here from Ethan. I would like to create my own new club. People around me are saying that I should establish an NPO, but is it really necessary to create one? What are the advantages for establishing an NPO? This is a really good question. And I do want to just be clear about this really quickly. First and foremost, the title of a nonprofit organization is not a necessary title to have as an organization. The only reason the nonprofit organization title, like getting an EIN and like going through the process of actually, filing for an NPO, the only reason that that's important is if you plan on getting donations or if you plan on doing fundraisers or anything that's related to the financial aspect of an NPO. For example, if your nonprofit organization is 90% focused on donations, 90% focused on funding and getting fundraisers and doing fundraisers to then, donate that money to, wherever you want to donate it to, that organization needs an EIN number or tax ID number so that if you partner with like Chick-fil-A, for example, they will not fundraise with you unless you have that number, okay? And that number you can only have if you file as an actual official nonprofit organization. So with that being said, just to kind of be clear, do I need to have and make it an NPO? If your organization is not focused on active fundraising and funding, then no, it's not necessarily necessary to call it an NPO. Colleges don't look at your application and say, wow, this student has a nonprofit and give merit to that. Even if it wasn't a nonprofit, they're actually looking for how much of an impact that you had in the organization. I would say 90% or above of my students that I've built a spike with or a community impact project with, 90% of those students don't have the NPO title. They just have an organization that they've created outside of school, and maybe they're building kits or engineering kits to give to students in underserved communities, or maybe they're maybe they're kind of, creating, fundraisers that are not really about money, but maybe about like food, canned foods or things like that. Those students don't need an NPO title to do all of those things. So hopefully, Ethan, that answered your question. That's a really, really good question. And I think that's helpful to know. Another question. I joined the live stream late, so I missed the part about visas. Could you give me a quick summary of the key changes? Yes. The only thing I mentioned about the visas was that there may be delays in visas. So if you're an international applicant and you need an F1 visa, the only thing I mentioned was that there may be delays. So you just want to make sure that you do things ahead of time and file for those visas ahead of time so that you don't have any problem going into when you get admitted to the college. Okay, I think we might have time for one more question. So if you can, Ethan, you mentioned you have another question. So if you want to type it, you are more than welcome to type it right now. And then we'll go right into the lottery. I want to major in chemistry. What kinds of activities can demonstrate community impact related to this field? Also a really good question, Ethan. I'm so glad that you are probably getting a lot from this conversation. First of all, my very first recommendation to you, Ethan, is to actually figure out what niche area of chemistry you want to explore, because chemistry is very broad as a major, right? A lot of students who go into chemistry, they're really interested in like pharmacy and like building medications or medicine. I have students who are also really interested in chemistry, but as it relates to like environmental chemistry or ecological chemistry or even like plant science, for example. So I think that's the very first thing you want to do, is to make sure that you have a specific niche area under chemistry that you really are passionate about. Based on that, you want to build projects. Community impact is very simple. It's something that you do in your organization that actively addresses a challenge in your community. So I'll give you an example since, I don't know the in-depth kind of chemistry field that you want to go into. But I had a student who was chemistry related to pharmacy. And one of the things that she really cared about is for elderly Korean 할머니, 할아버지, right? Like grandmas and grandpas who don't know exactly the ingredients and the the chemistry behind the ingredients in medications, like even aspirin or Tylenol, right? And so she created an organization where she created pamphlets and flyers, specifically translations of chemistry and ingredients and things within, and also side effects of those ingredients in medications. And they put those in different pharmacies across like Koreatown. They also created a website where you can type in medical terminology and it will translate it into Korean. That's impact, right? It's not the direct use of like, oh, I'm going and pipetting everything, these chemical reactions. It's more about how are you using chemistry as a knowledge broadly to make an impact in your community where there is a challenge. So Ethan, what I would recommend that you do are two things, okay? Number one, I would recommend that you find that niche area of focus within chemistry that you really want to explore. And number two, when you think about impact, just think about it broadly, but think about the challenges that there are in your local community that you would want to solve using chemical knowledge or using chemistry. And that should at least give you a good start of building your spike. I had a parent ask, how many extracurricular activities should my child have to be competitive for top colleges? And I did a seminar, earlier when I kind of jump started our expo today. I did talk about how it's more important to have depth than breadth. So it's actually much more important to have really impactful extracurricular activities instead of saying a number. But I will tell you this. The Common Application lets you put up to 10 activities into the application. The UC application has a total of 20 activities and awards. For the Common Application, it is in your best interest to fill up the full 10. For the UC application, you don't have to fill up the full 20, but of course, you're going to be competing against students that have full 20 academic activities and awards. So that's just something that you need to be mindful of. So once again, it's not a matter of number other than what needs to be on the application itself. I think what you should focus on is the value of your activities and the impact of those activities. I'll answer another question. How important is it for extracurriculars to relate to a student's intended major? This is another really good question. So when it comes to extracurricular activities, actually, the most important thing is for it to relate to the major. So when I told you earlier about the Common Application, there are 10 activities that you can put on. I would say about 50% of the activities should be related to the about 5 of those 10 activities should be related to your major. The rest could be a talent, a hobby, an interest, things like that could be fine. But I would say at least half of your activities, including your summer programs that you're a part of, should be related to your major so that an admission officer can look at your application and say, wow, the student is actually really passionate about this particular major that they want to major in. Okay, thank you all for asking me questions. I wish I had more time. This is always my favorite part, actually, to answer people's questions. But we're going to go right into our first lottery. So we are going to choose one person who will get the $250 gift card, and then 5 people who are going to get the $20 gift card. Okay. And if you see your email and we call you out, we will contact you separately at the end of the webinar. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started with our first winner. This is going to be for $20. We have Esther38@gmail.com. Esther38@gmail.com. Congratulations. Second winner for $20. We have Roy1111choi@gmail.com. Roy1111choi@gmail.com. Congratulations. Our third winner. Let's see. insunju@yahoo.com. insunju@yahoo.com. We're going to do our fourth $20 winner. Fourth $20 winner here. bbol114@naver.com. bbol114@naver.com. And this is going to be for our last $20 winner. Last $20 winner is junha@gmail.com. junha@gmail.com. Congratulations. And here we go. This is for the $250. Here we go. Let's see. Our big winner is hihyjung@gmail.com. hihyjung@gmail.com. Congratulations with a $250 gift card. We have a lot more coming, everybody. More raffles, more lotteries, and we will be coming right back. So we're going to have a quick break. We'll be right back shortly where Mr. Richard Myung will be speaking. Where Miss Sarah Park will be speaking about college admissions. So we'll take a quick commercial break and we will be right back.
Feeling overwhelmed by the college admissions process? Pause and breathe. Admission Masters is here to illuminate your path to success. Our mission? To arm you with strategic tools and tailored advice that unlock your potential and sculpt your academic future. Picture our counselors as your personal navigators, expertly steering you through the admissions maze while amplifying your unique strengths. Remember, education is more than just grades. It's about comprehensive growth. We're committed to nurturing both your academic prowess and personal development, ensuring you're well-rounded for the journey ahead. Embark on your college admissions journey with Admission Masters, where our experience, dedication, and commitment to your success converge to transform your application into something truly extraordinary. Are you ready to reach new heights and turn your dreams into reality? Let's achieve greatness together.
AGM은 미국 내 최고 수준의 학자금 재정 프로그램과 아이비 대학 연구진의 ARIP AI 인공지능 인턴십 프로그램을 운영하고 있습니다. 아이비 출신의 최고 강사진이 직접 지도하는 과외 프로그램과 글로벌 리서치 프로그램으로 자녀의 성적 향상을 책임집니다.
미주 최초로 자체 개발한 고객관리 시스템과 1,900개 대학 이상의 각종 데이터베이스를 여러분과 공유하겠습니다.
지금 바로 웹사이트에 방문해보세요. 자녀의 미래가 달라집니다.
Miss Sarah Park, who will be speaking about Beyond the Score, how AP strengthens your college application. Miss Sarah Park is going to be speaking about all of the most amazing things. I know a lot of you are really worried and concerned about AP exams. She is the CEO of A1 College Prep, the principal of Global Leadership School, and the president of Hwarang Youth Foundation. Let's give Miss Sarah Park all of our attention.
네, 안녕하세요 여러분 반갑습니다. 지금 멀리서 이렇게 조인해서 중요한 정보를 받기 위해서 들어오실 것 같은데요. 여러분 모두 환영합니다. 저는 지금 현재 글로벌 리더십 스쿨의 교장으로서 온라인 그리고 하이브리드로 학생 여러분들을 만나서 다양한 과목의 공부를 파트타임 그리고 풀타임으로 지도하고 있습니다. 오늘은 여러분 그 AP가 우리 입시에 미칠 수 있는 영향 그리고 그거를 나에게 어떻게 적용시킬 것인지 그 전략에 대해서 이야기해 보도록 하겠습니다. 우선 AP가 무엇인지 여러분 모두 다 알고 계실 거예요. 칼리지 레벨의 코र्스라는 거, 그리고 이것이 아카데믹으로서 쉬운 과목이 아니라 매우 도전적이고 어려운 과목이라는 것도 알고 계실 거예요. 그런 만큼 이것이 학생의 학업적 능력을 증명할 수 있는 좋은 수단이 되겠죠. 대학은 아무래도 그 학업 기관이다 보니까 공부를 잘한다는 것은 매우 중요하고 우리 대학에 합격을 했을 때 우리 대학에 와서 성공적으로 공부를 할 수 있다라는 것은 좀 증명이 돼야 대학에서도 마음 놓고 그 학생을 뽑을 수 있다는 부분에 있어서 중요한 부분인 것 같아요. 그래서 고등학교 때 미리 대학의 AP 코र्스를 들었다는 것은 조금 대학 입장에서 대학에서 이루어지는 수준의 공부를 충분히 관리하고 핸들할 수 있구나. 그리고 성공적으로 A를 받을 수 있는 5점, B를 받을 수 있는 4점 이렇게 잘 받은 학생들이기 때문에 안심하고 뽑아도 좋겠다. 이런 생각들을 할 수 있다는 부분에 있어서 우리가 신경을 좀 써야 되는 부분인데요. 그것은 이제 단순한 부분이고요. 이걸 조금 더 전략적인 부분에서 어떻게 활용할 것인지를 한번 보자면은 이것은 대학에서 하는 공부를 미리 한다라는 것은 학생들이 그 깊은 지식을 공부할 때 사전에 미리 예습도 하고 또 선생님과의 수업을 깊이 있게 토론도 하고 익히고 그리고 전 과정을 연계성 있게 잘 이해할 수 있다라는 것을 연습하는 거기 때문에 굉장히 중요합니다. 그리고 여러분 모두 아시다시피 AP는 4점 만점이 아니라 AP에서 A는 5점을 주기 때문에 GPA에 많이 부스트가 된다는 것도 알고 계실 거예요. 그리고 이거는 또한 대학 따라 조금씩 다르긴 하지만 칼리지의 크레딧 점수를 받을 수 있는 거기 때문에 아마 들어보셨을 거예요. 어떤 집 아이가 대학을 2년 반 만에 졸업을 했다, 3년 만에 졸업을 했다. 이럴 경우 AP 크레딧 혹은 또 듀얼 인원먼트를 통한 칼리지 코र्스를 들었기 때문에 가능한 것이죠. 그러면 이것이 학생과 학부모님들 그리고 대학에서는 어떤 의미를 더 갖는지 조금 더 자세히 알아보도록 하겠습니다. AP가 이렇게 입시의 경쟁력을 높여줄 수 있다는 부분 때문에 해마다 AP를 듣는 학생들의 숫자가 늘어나고 있어요. 이제는 거의 300만 학생이 1년에 AP를 듣고 있는 실정입니다. 그렇기 때문에 약간 나의 학업적 능력을 비교해서 보여주기 위해서는 나도 조금 신경을 써야 되는 부분이 되겠어요. 이제 대학들에서 어느 정도 AP를 들어야 되느냐는 질문을 가장 많이 받게 되는 것 같아요. 근데 이 수치 통계는 조금 이렇게 적은 숫자로 나왔어요. 보통 IB나 탑 20 스쿨들은 8개에서 12개를 들었다 이렇게 얘기를 하지만 뭐 18개를 들었다 이런 학생들도 있을 수 있습니다. 제가 아는 애리조나에 있는 학교 같은 경우는 고등학교 전 과정이 AP로 구성이 된 학교도 있기 때문에 그런 경우는 그런 학생들이 해당이 되겠죠. 그리고 우리가 일반적으로 많이 보고 있는 탑 50까지의 학교에서는 뭐 한 8개, 뭐 UC 같은 경우도 8개에서 까지를 그 GPA 부스트 점수로 UC GPA에다가 올려주기 때문에 그 정도는 모두 듣는다라고 생각들을 하고 계신 걸로 알고 있습니다. 그리고 이제 스테이트 컬리지라든지 그 이하 학교에서는 조금 더 낮은 숫자로 AP를 듣고 있어요. 그런데 이제 이거를 몇 개를 들었느냐가 모든 걸 말해주진 않습니다. 이 개수라는 것이 잘못하면 우리를 조금 혼란스럽게 할 수 있는데요. 학교에서 10개를 제공하고 있는데 내가 2개를 들었느냐, 내가 8개를 들었느냐 하는 것에 대한 것도 굉장히 중요합니다. 그래서 어떤 학교는 저희 인근에 있는 학교는 학교에서 3개밖에 제공을 해주지 않아요. 그렇기 때문에 그 학생이 3개를 다 들었다고 하면 할 수 있는 최선의 노력을 다해서 공부를 열심히 하고 학교에서 주는 모든 도전의 기회를 활용했다고 볼 수 있기 때문에 그 경우는 3개를 들어도 괜찮다고 할 수 있습니다. 그러나 아무래도 전체 오버롤 GPA에서 숫자가 낮을 수 있기 때문에 이 방법을 보완할 수 있는 다른 방법들도 나중에 알려드리도록 하겠습니다. 이제 AP를 많이 잘 들었을 경우에 부모님들에게는 어떤 의미일지를 한번 들여다보도록 하겠습니다. 여기에는 대학 학비가 1년에 15,000불 정도로 나와 있지만 실질적으로는 4만 불, 5만 불, 6만 불 더 많은 튜이션과 텍스트북 피가 들어가죠. 그 비용과 또 학생 론에 대한 이자 그리고 1년 동안을 만약에 일찍 졸업을 해서 직업을 가졌다고 했을 때의 월급 이런 것들을 전부 계산을 하면 대학을 만약에 4년 졸업인데 5년에 한다. 그러면은 15만 불 정도 손해를 보게 되는 거고 3년에 졸업을 한다. 그러면 조금 더 전략을 할 수 있다는 부분에 있어서 부모님께서는 생각하실 때 조금 더 이로운 점이 될 수 있다고 볼 수 있겠죠. 자, 그러면 부모님들이 봤을 때에 또 어떤 부분에 있어서 이런 AP를 많이 잘 들음으로써 이점을 우리가 짚어갈 수 있을까요? 한번 보면 AP 시험을 치른 학생과 치르지 않은 학생, 그리고 AP에서 1점, 2점, 3점, 4점, 5점 이렇게 각 점수를 받은 학생들이 대학을 입학할 수 있는 그 더 합격률도에서 많이 차이를 보이고 또 대학에 들어가서 학업을 성공적으로 이수하는 거에도 굉장히 차이를 보일 수 있습니다. 그리고 사실 대학을 들어갔지만 잘할 수 있느냐 그것도 굉장히 중요한 부분이 되잖아요. 정해진 4년 안에 혹은 그거보다 더 오래 걸려서 혹은 더 빠른 시간 내에 그리고 얼마나 좋은 GPA를 받아서 졸업을 하는가가 또 다음 대학원 혹은 직장 생활에 있어서의 가능성을 말해 줄 수 있는 부분이기 때문에 이 부분도 우리가 좀 고려해야 될 것 같습니다. 이 그래프 같은 경우는 대학에서 우리 학생들을 뽑을 때 단순히 그냥 합격시키고 불합격시키고의 문제가 아니라 학생들을 선별할 때 학교 입장에서는 이게 또 중요한 투자이기 때문에 학교에서 봤을 때에도 그 학생들이 자기 과목을 성공적으로 얼만큼 맞췄느냐라는 거에 포커스를 할 수밖에 없어요. 그래서 예를 들어서 바이오 전공자 중에서 AP를 잘 듣고 고득점을 받은 학생이 대학에 와서도 좋은 GPA로 잘 이수했더라 하는 것을 칼리지보드가 통계를 낸 것입니다. 제가 지난달에 보스턴에서 열리는 AP 컨퍼런스를 다녀왔어요. 그랬을 때에 AP 모든 선생님들과 또 칼리지보드 또 대학 관계자 혹은 교육청 이런 분들도 모두 학생들이 대학에 있어서 얼만큼 성과를 내느냐에 많이 주목하고 있었던 것 같아요. 그래서 우리 부모님들과 학생들도 조금 더 눈을 열어서 대학에서의 성공까지를 고려하면 좋겠습니다. 다음 슬라이드를 보시면 이제 어드미션 오피서들이 이 AP를 어떻게 보느냐 했을 때에 좀 합격률에 어느 정도 영향을 미치느냐 를 얘기할 수 있는데요. 이게 잘못 들으면 AP를 많이 듣고 잘 들어야 합격을 한다라고 단편적으로 보실 수도 있는데요. 꼭 그렇다기보다는 AP를 통해서 고등학교 동안에 이 학업적 실력을 갈고 닦은 학생들이 아무래도 합격률이 더 높을 수 있다. 그리고 대학 가서도 또 높은 성적을 낼 수 있다. 이런 부분으로 해석을 하시면 좋을 것 같습니다. 이것도 비슷한 것이니까 제가 조금 넘어가도록 하겠습니다. 그리고 전반적으로 봤을 때 아무래도 AP를 더 잘 듣고 성공적으로 한 학생들이 대학 합격률이 평균 15% 이상 더 높았다라는 통계를 또 한번 보여드릴게요. 자, 그러면 지금까지 말씀드렸던 AP의 성공이 대학의 입학률이나 혹은 대학에서의 성공률을 영향을 미친 거를 좀 단기간적인 관점에서 본다고 했을 때에 첫 번째 아무래도 좀 더 엄격한 학문적인 그 기준과 실력을 가졌기 때문에 단순히 이것이 선택 과목을 뭘 들었다를 떠나서 전체적인 학문적 실력을 보여줄 수 있다라는 부분을 다시 한번 기억했으면 좋겠고요. 그리고 대학 준비도 더 많이 잘 된다라는 부분도 생각을 해야 될 것 같고 세 번째 다시 생각하면 입시 경쟁력 또한 높일 수 있다는 부분을 숏텀으로 봤을 때 가치로 저희가 생각을 할 수 있겠고 그러면 긴 안목으로 봤을 때는 어떤 부분들을 볼 수 있는지 본다면 대학에 가서 더 높은 GPA를 받을 수 있고 또 다양한 그 시간 관리 기술이라든지 공부에 대한 더 깊은 소화라든지 이런 것들을 할 수 있는 아카데믹 스킬을 기를 수 있다라는 것 그리고 AP 과목을 고등학교 때 미리 들음으로써 복수 전공도 가능해지고 뭐 뭐 3개 과목까지도 지금 전공들을 많이 학생들이 하고 있지요. 이럴 수 있는 여유가 생길 수 있다는 부분에서의 값어치를 다시 한번 짚고 넘어가겠습니다. 자, 그러면 이 부분이 우리 학생들이나 혹은 학부모님들에게 있어서 가장 고민이 되는 부분이고 많은 질문인 것 같아요. 어떤 과목을 들어야 되는가 하는 부분이에요. 다행히 이 그래프를 보면 많은 학생들이 GPA를 생각하거나 칼리지 크레딧을 생각해서 AP를 선택하는 사람이 많습니다. 하지만 이 흐린 색깔, 파란 색깔 보호를 보시면 어떤 학생들은 친구에 대한 압박감, 다른 친구들도 다 들으니까 나도 좀 이만큼 들어야 되지 않나? 이런 생각을 하고 또 내 친구가 들으니까 과목 선택을 하고 부모님들도 그렇죠. 옆집 아이는 4개를 듣는다는데 너는 2개만 들어서 되겠니? 이렇게 단순하게 비교를 하시는 부분이 있기 때문에 뒤처지고 싶지 않고 그래서 선택하는 그런 혼란을 겪을 수 있다는 부분이 좀 어려운 도전이 되는 것 같아요. 그래서 이럴 때 그러면 우리 아이는 무엇을 가지고 어떤 기준을 가지고 선택을 해서 현명한 선택을 할 수 있을까에 대한 전략을 한번 이야기 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 일단 AP에 대해서 접근을 할 때 얼마나 어려운 과목이냐 아니냐 또 경쟁력을 높이기 위해서 더 어려운 과목을 더 들어야 되느냐 뭐 이런 얘기들도 있는데요. 그 패스 패러독스라는 게 있는데요. 좀 쉬운 과목이라고 그래가지고 더 많은 학생들이 패스를 받는 거는 아닐 수도 있고요. 또 어려운 과목이라 그래가지고 패스가 적은 것도 아니라는 부분을 이렇게 표로 얘기해 주고 있는데요. 일단 AP 피직스와 AP 차이니스를 비교해 놨네요. 이 경우 AP 차이니스는 굉장히 어려운 과목으로 되고 있지만 실질적으로 3점 이상의 패스를 받는 학생들의 숫자가 88.7%나 된다고 하니까 이게 좀 어려워도 내가 좋은 그레이드를 받을 수 있는 거가 무조건 높진 않겠지만 그래도 더 많더라 하는 부분을 생각을 했을 때 무조건 difficulty 가지고서 선택을 해서는 안 된다라는 부분이 또 교훈이 하나가 있고요. 또 하나는 이제 popularity, 좀 어떤 과목이 더 인기가 많으냐 이런 걸 갖고서 선택할 수도 있어요. 왜냐면 이런 거는 다 들으니까 선택하는 경우들도 있고 난 그런 과목을 선택하는 걸 들은 적이 없는데 하는 과목들이 있는데요. 예를 들어서 뭐 AP World, AP US History 이런 과목은 대부분의 학생들이 듣는 과목이다 보니까 공부를 할 때에 공부할 수 있는 자료가 굉장히 많고요. 그러다 보니까 온라인에도 많고 뭐 책 살 수도 있고 또 스터디 그룹을 찾기도 쉽고 또 AP 역사를 가르치는 선생님들도 많으시고 그러면서 시험을 예측할 수 있는 그런 자료들도 굉장히 많이 있습니다. 그리고 이런 과목에서 5점을 받았을 경우 대학에서 학점을 더 인정해 주는 것도 많은 것 같아요. 그렇지만 이런 것에 단점이 있다면 그 과목 안에서 뭘까요? 이거를 들은 학생들의 과목이 많다 보니까 그 편차 안에서 그 상위 그룹에 들어가기 어려우니까 조금 더 좋은 점수를 받는데 경쟁적이다라고 생각할 수 있어요. 그리고 AP US 히스토리를 들었다 그래가지고 이 아이의 특징을 말해주는 거는 조금 어려운 것 같아요. 근데 예를 들어서 뭐 아트 히스토리를 들었다. 다른 남들이 듣지 않는 과목을 들었다. 특히 마이크로 이콘, 매크로 이콘도 조금 이 시험을 보는 아이들의 숫자도 적은 것 같고요. AP 피직스, E&M 뭐 이런 것도 듣는 학생들이 적은 것 같은데 그런 만큼 공부 자료를 찾기도 어렵고 또 잘 가르치는 선생님을 찾기도 어렵고 경험이 풍부한 선생님을 찾기도 어렵습니다. 그렇지만 여기서 고득점을 받는 게 상대적으로 어렵다라고 말할 수는 없어요. 오히려 피직스, E&M이 공부할 때는 매우 어려웠지만 열심히 공부하면서 다른 과목보다 5점을 받는 것이 더 어렵지는 않다라는 부분이 있기 때문에 조금 더 그런 부분에 대해서의 선입견을 가지기보다는 다른 방법을 찾아야 되는데요. 어떤 건지 한번 볼까요? 가장 중요한 건 이런 것 같아요. 그 아카데믹 그 스트렝스를 많이 보여주는 만큼 내가 전공할 과목과 관계된 것이 매우 중요한 것 같아요. 왜냐면 내가 이 학교에 가서 이 공부를 하고 싶은 것은 왜냐? 이런 질문이 항상 입학 원서에 있잖아요. YSA가 항상 있는데 그럴 때에 내가 이 공부를 해보지 않고서 그거에 대한 장점을 얘기하는 건 굉장히 어렵겠죠. 예를 들어서 나는 엔지니어가 되고 싶다. 그렇게 얘기했는데 피직스 과목을 들은 적이 없고 수학도 AP 캘큘러스 같은 경우를 들은 적이 없는데 엔지니어를 한다 그러면 그래 이 아이의 마음의 열정은 알겠는데 와서 잘 해낼 수 있을까라는 확신을 주기도 어렵지요. 그러니까 만약에 내가 엔지니어링을 하고 싶은 생각이 있다 그러면 좀 찾아서 들어야 될 것 같아요. 수학 중에서도 가장 높은 수학, AP 캘큘러스, AB, BC, 또 가능하면 통계 그 AP 스태티스틱스도 듣고 또 저 피직스에서도 모든 피직스를 최대한 다 듣는 것이 중요할 거고 또 에피 컴퓨터 사이언스도 듣고 또 다른 중요한 연계 과목인 에피 케미스트리로 들으면서 과학에 대한 폭넓은 이해도를 갖고 있다. 그리고 그거에 대한 좋은 점수를 갖고 있어서 이 학생은 우리 학교를 들어와도 이 전공을 굉장히 잘할 수 있겠구나라는 확신을 주는 것이 매우 중요한 부분인 것 같습니다. 이제 프리메드 학생 같은 경우들은 어머님들 많이 알고 계시죠? AP 바이오는 대부분 듣는다. 그리고 AP 케미스트리도 마찬가지다. 하지만 이게 아이들이 지금 이 시점에 자기의 꿈이나 목표라는 게 모두 확실하지 않은데 그 과정 속에서 AP 바이오나 AP 케미스트리를 다 공부를 하는 과정이 쉽지만은 않을 수도 있습니다. 그럴 만큼 미리 사전 준비를 통해서 철저하게 관리하는 것을 도와주시면서 이 공부를 해나갈 수 있게 도와주는 것이 매우 중요할 것 같고요. 이제 그 이외에 만약에 프리메드다 하면은 좀 더 도움이 될 수 있는 AP 코스로는 AP 캘큘러스나 AP 스태티스틱스 그리고 AP 피직스 다른 연관 과학 과목이나 혹은 수학 과목을 들음으로써 이 학생의 논리적 사고 능력 그리고 비교할 수 있는 통계 능력 이런 것들을 같이 증명해 주면은 훨씬 도움이 될 수 있을 것 같습니다. 그리고 이제 한국 남학생들, 여학생들 많이 공부하는데요. AP 비즈니스를 전공하고 싶어하는 학생들이라면 그냥 학교에서 제공하는 걸 듣다 보면 보통 AP 12학년 때는 거브 듣고 그 다음에 2학기 때는 이컨 듣고 요 정도에서 끝나거든요. 그럴 때에 조금 더 노력하고 찾아서 마이크로 이컨이랑 매크로 이컨을 둘 다 들을 수 있도록 선택하는 것이 중요한 전략이 될 것 같고 또 우리 비즈니스 공부에 있어서는 통계가 매우 밀접한 관계를 갖고 있기 때문에 AP 스태티스틱스도 같이 들어주면 좋겠고 그만큼 또 수학적 능력이 좋은 것은 비즈니스에 있어서도 분석적 능력이 좋은 학생으로 판단될 수 있기 때문에 수학도 잘해주면 굉장히 좋겠고요. 기타 부분에 있어서 AP 휴먼 지오그래피 적극 추천합니다. 우리 인류가 어떻게 분포해서 살고 어떻게 이동하고 변화하는지를 안다는 것은 비즈니스에 있어서 굉장히 기본이 되는 중요한 정보라고 이야기를 할 수 있어요. 그리고 에피사이콜로지 같은 경우도 사람들의 심리를 읽은 후에 비즈니스 결정을 할 수 있는 것도 좋기 때문에 에피사이콜로지를 공부한다고 해서 사이콜로지 메이저에만 도움이 된다라고 생각하지 마시고 이런 공부도 사람들과 함께하는 모든 분야에 도움이 된다라는 걸 생각을 하셔서 또 적극 추천합니다. 그리고 이제 휴메니티 전공을 할 경우에는 아무래도 영어 공부도 영어 실력이 좋을수록 많이 유리하겠죠. 모든 공부의 기본은 영어니까요. 그리고 세상을 이해하는 데 있어서의 어떤 역사 과목적으로 인류의 변천사를 다 이해하고 있다라는 것은 휴메니티 과목에 있어서 폭넓은 이해에 도움을 줄 수 있기 때문에 적극적으로 AP 히스토리 과목들을 듣는 것은 기본이라고 할 수 있겠습니다. 그리고 영어도 이제 랭귀지와 리터레처를 다 해주는 게 좋겠고요. 뭐 이 이외에 뭐 AP RT 히스토리처럼 좀 우리의 사고와 또 창의력을 풍부하게 넓혀줄 수 있는 RT 히스토리 같은 과목을 들음으로써 차별성을 보여주는 것도 많이 도움이 될 것 같습니다. 그리고 이제 AP 컴퓨터 사이언스를 전공하는 학생들 같은 경우는 당연히 AP 컴퓨터 사이언스나 프린시펄을 듣겠죠. 그 이외에 우리 코딩을 잘 하려면은 높은 단계 가서 수학에 막히면 결국 코딩에서도 한계가 나타나기 때문에 중학교 때부터 꾸준하게 고등학교 때 쉼 없이 그리고 더 도전적으로 AP 캘큘러스 과목들을 들어주는 것을 추천을 하고 거기에 보태서 AP 피직스라든지 스태티스틱스 과목도 함께 이수를 해준다면 실질적으로 대학 입시의 경쟁력도 높일 뿐더러 대학 가서도 스무스하게 공부를 잘 이해할 수 있다는 장점을 생각을 해야 될 것 같습니다. 요즘에 AI가 굉장히 발달되고 있죠. 그래서 많은 직업들이 사라지고 또 돈을 많이 주고 누군가 데려가고 싶어 하는 AI를 잘 활용하는 사람들을 많이 뽑기 원하는데요. 그럴 때 우리 학생들이 지금 고등학교에서 이런 과목들을 들으면서 나는 AI와 어떻게 연관되고 있는지 내가 인문계라 그러면 AI와 관계된 직업은 가질 수 없다라고 생각할 수도 있는데 실질적으로 많은 지식적 백그라운드를 가진 사람이라면 AI와 연관된 직업을 가질 때도 매우 유리하기 때문에 내 사고를 폭넓게, 내 시야를 폭넓게 하는 의미에 있어서 최선을 다해서 AP를 조금 더 도전성 있게 들어주시면 좋을 것 같습니다. 그리고 내가 어떤 능력이 뛰어났을 때에 어떤 과목이 좀 더 유리한가 하는 것도 한번 정리를 해봤습니다. 지금 내가 매스, 수학적인 사고 능력 그리고 논리 능력이 뛰어난 학생이라 그러면 당연히 수학 쪽이 조금 더 쉽고 흥미롭고 재밌게 공부할 수 있는 과목이기 때문에 캘큘러스, ABPC, 스태티스틱스, 컴퓨터 사이언스, 피직스 이런 과목들에 대해서 한번 도전해 볼 것을 추천드리고요. 리딩이나 라이팅을 잘한다 그러면 영어 과목이나 히스토리 과목 그리고 사이콜로지 같은 과목 읽고 이해할 수 있는 과목들이 조금 더 유리하겠고요. 내가 지금 바이올로지나 사이콜로지나 이런 휴먼 지오그래피 이런 과목들은 아무래도 암기가 조금 더 많기 때문에 내가 암기를 좋아하느냐 잘하느냐 혹은 굉장히 어려워하고 힘들어하느냐를 보고 과목 선택에 좀 신경을 썼으면 좋겠는 게 암기를 굉장히 힘들어하는 학생들 같은 경우는 바이오를 많이 힘들어하고 좋은 점수를 받지 못하는 경우를 매우 흔하게 봤기 때문에 그런 부분을 좀 고려해서 결정하면 좋을 것 같습니다. 그리고 내가 문제 해결 능력이 좋은 학생이다. 그러면 화학이나 물리나 경제학이나 이런 것들이 공부하면서 굉장히 재미를 느끼면서 쉽다고 여겨질 수 있는 부분인 것 같아요. 그리고 그 밖에 크리에이티브한 학생이다. 그러면 다른 친구들이 듣지 않아도 내가 조금 찾아서 아트와 디자인 그리고 뮤직 테오리 이런 더 많은 리터레처 이런 과목들을 통해서 창의성을 개발해 보는 것도 좋을 것 같습니다. 그리고 언어 같은 경우는 내가 좀 언어적인 그 재능을 많이 가진 학생이다 하는 경우들을 제가 종종 보는데요. 생각보다 세계국어 이상의 하는 학생들이 많고요. 중학교 때부터 그 능력 시험을 많이 보더라고요. 그래서 중국어 능력 시험, 한국어 능력 시험, 그리고 이제 스페니쉬나 뭐 다른 이탈리안이나 이런 다른 랭귀지 같은 경우는 AP를 들음으로써 혹은 내가 외부에서 들었다 하더라도 AP 시험을 더 보고 더 많은 크레딧을 취득함으로써 여러분의 경쟁력을 높일 수 있다고 말씀드리겠습니다. 네, 그래서 저희가 이제 시간 관계상 이런 거를 조금 넘어가고요. AP 코र्스가 모두 몇 개나 있을까요? 총 40과목이 있습니다. 아마 여러분 학생들이나 부모님들께서 알고 있는 게 10개 정도 제한돼 있다면 오늘 전체 리스트를 한번 뽑아보시고 그 40개의 리스트 중에 조금 더 꼼꼼하게 한번 찾아보시면 좋겠고요. 이제 제가 소개시켜드릴 AP 캡스톤은 요즘 각광받고 있는 것이죠. AP 세미나와 AP 리서치를 들음으로써 리서치 능력을 증명할 수 있는데요. IB 프로그램에서 보여줄 수 있는 강점, AP로서 보여주기는 아쉬운 부분을 보완하기 위해서 만들어진 프로그램인 만큼 이 부분을 통해서 나의 특별한 리서치 능력을 키워나갈 수 있다 그러면 여러분의 경쟁력을 키워나갈 수 있고요. 또 리서치 퍼블리케이션을 하기 위해서 기회를 잡기가 어렵고 많은 비용이 들지만 이 AP 캡스톤 프로젝트를 잘하면 여러 가지 크레딧을 받을 수 있는데요. AP 캡스톤 서티피케이트도 받을 수 있고 디플로마도 받을 수 있습니다. 그것은 여러분 입시에 많은 이점을 줄 수 있다는 부분에 별표하시고 기억하셨으면 좋겠습니다. 그리고 이제 앞으로 AP가 여러 과목들이 소개가 될 거예요. 이거 Career Kickstart 이 과목들은 기업과 학교와 함께 이걸 만든 칼리지 보드가 함께 만들어 놓은 건데요. 실질적 업무 능력을 키우는 것입니다. 그래서 AP Business with Personal Finance라는 과목이 내년에 2025년 이후 2026년부터 실행이 될 거고요. 사이버 시큐리티도 마찬가지입니다. 그리고 AP 네트워킹인데 이게 두 개의 사이버 시큐리티나 네트워크는 실질적인 그 기능 자격도 같이 주는 것이기 때문에 취업에 많이 도움이 될 수 있는 부분이기 때문에 AP 컴퓨터 사이언스를 전공하고 그쪽 연관된 전공을 고를 학생이라면 내년에 기대하고 있다가 이런 과목을 함께 해보는 것도 추천드립니다. 그리고 작년부터 시행이 됐던 AP 프리캘큘러스를 통해서 간단한 통계 말씀드리자면 우리가 어차피 캘큘러스를 듣고 또 AP 캘큘러스를 듣고 있었기 때문에 AP 프리캘큘러스는 좀 더 쉽게 많은 학생들이 접근을 한 것 같아요. 그래서 5점을 받은 학생이 무려 25% 이상, 4점을 받은 학생도 또 3점을 받은 학생도 다 25% 이상의 수치를 나타내면서 전체적으로 이거를 통과하는 학생이 81%나 되는 과목이기 때문에 우리 학생들이 이 부분은 좀 쉽게 도전을 해봤으면 좋겠습니다. 그리고 이제 GLS에 대해서 간단하게 설명드리도록 하겠습니다. 저희 글로벌 리더십 스쿨은 학생들이 좀 자유롭게 온라인 수업을 들을 수 있도록 여러 가지 코र्스를 준비하고 있습니다. 일반 학교에서 제공하지 않는 다양한 AP 과목을 들을 수 있는데요. 이것은 온라인 또는 하이브리드로 들을 수 있고 또 경험이 많은 선생님들이 가르치고 있기 때문에 학교에서 받을 수 없는 AP 크레딧을 저희를 통해서 받으실 수 있습니다. 그리고 저희가 칼리지 카운슬러적인 입장에서 학생들의 AP의 가이던스를 제공할 수 있다는 부분을 말씀드리겠어요. 그래서 이번에 학교에서 세 과목을 듣는데 AP 많이 부담스러워서 4개, 5개는 좀 어렵지만 난 듣고 싶어. 그럴 때 이제 겨울방학, 여름방학 혹은 자기 학기 중이지만 자기 페이스대로 큰 걱정 없이 큰 스트레스를 받지 않으면서 저희 GLS를 통해서 함께 등록해서 들으실 수 있고요. 여기 밑에 보시는 QR코드 스캔하시면 저희 사이트로 연결이 되고 저희가 제공하는 AP 과목들을 소개받으실 수 있습니다. 저희 GLS는 여기 타이포가 있는데요. 24개의 AP 코र्스를 제공을 하고 있고요. 와스크 인증을 받은 지금 정식 미국 온라인 오프라인 사립학교라는 부분을 소개해 드립니다. AP를 할 때 부모님들이나 학생들이 언제 뭐를 들을지에 대해서 고민들이 굉장히 많으세요. 그런 만큼 이 로드맵을 잘 작성을 해야 되는데 그 부분에 대한 상담 도와드리도록 하겠습니다. 그리고 이제 저희 실제 학생들에 대한 사례 짧게 말씀드리자면 저희 학생들은 이제 비즈니스를 전공하는 학생 같은 경우는 AP 스태티스틱스나 마이크로 이컨 그리고 또 environmental science 이런 거를 학교에서 듣는 과목 이외에 추가적으로 더 들음으로써 다양한 아이비 리그 학교에 모두 합격을 한 경우를 가지고 있고요. 전입니다. 네. 네. 그리고 이제 컴퓨터 사이언스를 전공한 학생 같은 경우는 저희가 제공하는 그 컴퓨터 사이언스 과목은 학교에서 들었고 저희와는 멀티 베리어블이나 리니어 알지브라로서 더 높은 수준의 수학, 대학에서 들을 수 있는 수학을 들어갔기 때문에 이제 최고 컴퓨터 사이언스로 유명한 UC 버클리 대학에서 컴퓨터 사이언스와 어플라이드 매스를 동시에 더블 메이저를 하는 프로그램에 합격을 하게 되었고요. 또 많은 리버럴 아츠 칼리지 경쟁력 있는 학교들에게 일반 학교에서 제공하지 않는 이런 과목들을 들음으로써 많은 합격자를 배출을 했다라는 부분을 소개해 드리도록 하겠습니다. 오늘 긴 시간 잘 들어주셨습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you so much, Sarah Park. 너무 감사합니다. 너무 좋은 정보들을 너무 많이 주셔가지고. We're gonna go right into the Q&A. 한국말로도 써주시면 괜찮으니까 제가 일단, Sarah Park한테 제가 이제 질문들을 원장님한테 몇 가지 하겠습니다. 일단, 대학에서 아트를 공부하고 싶은 학생은 어떤 엑스트라 커리큘럼을 하면 도움이 될까요? 라는 질문을 주셨는데요.
네, 대학에서 아트를 하는데 그 아트를 할 때도 굉장히 다양한 것 같아요. 제 학생들은 아무래도 좀 영향을 받다 보니까 좀 아트와 테크놀로지를 같이 하는 학생들이 좀 많아요. 그래서 순수 미술을 통해서 좀 창작적인 그림을 그리는 학생이냐 아니면 이거를 실업적으로 연결을 하는 학생이냐에 따라서 이제 그냥 순수 미술만 한다면 미술의 역사라든지 다른 아트와 관계된 과목이 아까 몇 개 있었죠. 저희 슬라이드 보면은 아트와 관계된 AP가 꽤 많은 걸로 아는데요. 그 과목들을 들을 수 있고요. 오늘 지금 제가 여기 보이는 화면을 스캔을 하시면 제가 오늘 소개했던 파워포인트를 다운로드 받으실 수 있어서 제가 이거 보내드렸습니다. 그래서 그 순수 미술이다 하면 좀 더 창의력을 발휘할 수 있게 하기 위해서 문학 쪽도 같이 많이 해주면 좋고 역사도 같이 공부를 해주면 좋습니다. 하지만 좀 실업적이다 그러면 컴퓨터 사이언스, 코딩 이런 것도 같이 공부를 해주면서 아까 나중에 나올 다른 그런 좀 더 테크놀로지와 관계된 과목들도 들으면서 개발을 하면 좋겠고요. 또 특히 그 미술 역사나 이런 부분은 소홀히 하지 않고 같이 들어줬으면 좋겠습니다. 어떻게 생각하세요?
네, 저도 똑같이 생각하세요. 네, 너무 공감하고요. 그리고, AP 시험 점수가 낮으면 제출하지 않아도 괜찮을까요? 라는 질문이 있었는데요.
네, 근데 이제 AP 점수가 그전에는 골라서 보낼 수가 있었어요. 저희가 4점, 5점인 것만 골라서 보낼 수 있었는데, 이제는 내가 치른 모든 AP 점수가 다 한꺼번에 보여지기 때문에 만약에 이 과목이 자신이 없다 그러면 그 점수를 시험을 보지 않던가 아니면 시험을 보고 나서 느낌이 안 좋다 그러면 바로 드랍을 시킴으로써 기록에 남기지 않는 것이 매우 중요하겠습니다.
네, 감사합니다. 그리고 시험 점수가 3점인데 제출하는 것이 입시에 도움이 될까요? 아니면 불리할까요?
네, 아무래도 아주 이게 내 무기다 하고 보여줄 수 있는 점수는 아니지만 지금까지 만약에 이제 받은 점수가 그렇다 하면 나머지 점수에서 4.5점을 더 올리고 이 3점까지는 같이 보여지게 될 거고 보이는 거에 대해서 너무 두려움을 갖거나 걱정하시지는 않아도 되겠다라고 말씀드리겠습니다.
감사합니다. 그리고 마지막 질문이 있는데 11학년인데 아직 AP 시험을 많이 안 봤습니다. 지금부터 어떤 계획을 세워야 할까요?
AP 시험을 보지 않았다면 이제 지금 너무 중요한 시점에 중요한 질문을 주셨어요. 우리 아이들이 AP와 일반 과목의 차이점을 잘 몰라요. 그래서 그냥 닥치는 대로 학교 점수 A 받다 보면 내가 잘하고 있구나라고 생각을 해서 시험을 보면 그거에 못 미치는 점수를 받는 경우가 허다한데요. 실질적으로 이거는 1년치 모든 과정이 올해 시험에 다 커버가 된다고 보기 때문에 지금 학기 초 이 시점에 그 한과를 그 주, 그 달 잘 정리하는 것이 매우 중요한데요. 수업 들어가기 전에 그 테이블 컨텐츠를 보던 그 챕터에서 그 볼드된 하이라이트된 내용들을 먼저 보고 들어가던 잠깐의 부담 크지 않은 예습을 하고 들어가고 수업 시간에 내가 예상했던 걸 선생님이 어떻게 가르치는지를 좀 비교하고 선생님께 질문을 좀 적극적으로 하고요. 그리고 그날 돌아와서는 그날 노트 정리하고 리뷰하고 한과 한가를 그 인덱스 카드에서 중요한 내용들 남기면서 외울 거 외우면서 공부를 하는 것이 중요하고요. 이제 1월이 되면 이제 반이 지나가면서 그때부터 실질적인 AP 시험 준비를 해야 되는데요. 그 전에 이제 예를 들어서 한 3개월 후에 우리 아이가 나가야 되는 게 예를 들어 12과인데 선생님이 아직도 3과에 있다. 그러면 이제 진도가 너무 늦어진다. 그럼 이거는 조금 알러트가 있어야 돼요. 학교 따라서 어떤 선생님들은 AP 합격자 수를 해마다 많이 배출하시는 학교와 선생님이 있고 그렇지 않고 신경 전혀 안 쓰시는 선생님들도 있기 때문에 선생님이 그리고 혹은 학교가 이거를 전부 좋은 점수를 받을 수 있게 가르쳐 준다라는 기대는 아예 좀 안 하시는 게 좋습니다. 그리고 이거를 무료로 공부할 수 있는 칼리지보드에서 제공하는 것들도 있고 이런 것은 학교에서 또 소스를 받을 수 있는데요. 또 좋은 리소스 책을 사가지고 우리 연습 문제가 들은 책자 있잖아요. 그것도 미리 구입을 했어서 중요한 내용들이 거기 나와 있기 때문에 그때 외우면서 공부하는 거 매우 중요하고요. 1월 달부터는 실전 테스트 시험을 봄으로써 내가 지금 얼만큼 모르고 있는가, 안 배웠는가, 혹은 잊어버렸는가를 확인하면서 공부하는 것이 키가 된다고 말씀드리겠습니다. 그것 또한 연락 주시면 제가 좀 더 그 학생 케이스에 맞는 상담 도와드리도록 하겠습니다.
너무 감사합니다. Wow, she answered so many great questions. You guys had really good questions to ask as well. Thank you to Miss Sarah Park once again from A1 College Prep for answering all of your questions and also giving such good information about AP exams and AP information. So without further ado, we're going to go into our next lottery. We're going to choose 6 people for the $20 gift card. First winner is Homes02@gmail.com, HomesZZ02@gmail.com. Congratulations, $20. Our second winner, YSJ2005-2@gmail.com, YSJ2005-2@gmail.com. Congratulations. Our third winner, it is WOS Chats at naver.com. WOS Chats with the Z at naver.com. Congratulations. We have 3 more to go. This is our fourth winner. Our fourth winner is ansongmi@gmail.com. ansongmi@gmail.com. Congratulations. We have two more to choose. Here's our fifth winner for $20 gift card. Fifth winner, Evelyn, KWEON8@gmail.com. Congratulations. And our last sixth $20 winner goes to, let's see, Kozion910. Kozion910@gmail.com. Congratulations to all of our $20 winners. All right, we are going to take a quick break and we'll be back shortly where Mr. Richard Myung will be speaking about financial aid. So stick around and we'll be right back. See you guys soon.
Hi, my name is Est, head college counselor at A1 College Prep. Just as college admissions committees in the U.S. utilize a holistic, comprehensive review process to evaluate student applications, at A1 College Prep we guide students using an individualized, multifaceted approach. Currently, we're offering a scholarship opportunity for eligible students for up to $5,000. Please reach out to us here for any inquiries and to learn more about this scholarship program.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Very excited to introduce our next speaker to you, who will be speaking about financial aid. I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions about it. So the next speaker is Mr. Richard Myung. He will be speaking about the biggest challenge to maximize the college financial aid. He's the president and CEO of AGM Institute, a master college financial aid specialist, former Wachovia Bank vice president and financial planner, and Korea Times Korea Daily financial aid columnist with over 1,680 columns. So without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce Mr. Richard Myung.
Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Myung, and today's topic is how to maximize a college financial aid, and that is a very critically important issue today, because the biggest challenge to maximize the college financial aid is getting to be a little bit more difficult every yearly basis. And since the U.S. government changed entire formula, and as long as the technical terminologies, and actually you might have a very difficult to understand during the process. So today I'm going to discuss about how to maximize college financial aid, as well as how you can do the prior planning for the college financial aid, and also how to improve admissions so that you could expect the maximum financial aid from the school, because you will be treated as a preferred student register. And also various research programs to enhance your personal profile to maximize financial aid opportunities. So this is me, and I was briefly introduced, and you can actually refer back to my profile later. And today's the most interesting topic is, what is college financial aid? Of course, I will talk about need basis financial aid and not merit basis, but merit basis is included inside the need basis, so it's not separate each other as well. It is a combined concept. So you won't be able to receive more than need basis, even though you receive the merit basis, because they will deduct it from need basis amount. And the next one is, how does it work? Is, of course, we have to discuss about eligibility, application, verification of income and asset, also appealing process and financialization at the same time. So let's talk about eligibility. The student current, the status is more important. Permanent resident or U.S. citizens are eligible, and you have to have at least a GPA 2.0 out of 4.0 scale. International students are rarely exceptional, but about 184 students, the financial aid awarding schools are available among private colleges. Also, undocumented students or DACA students, it used to be okay until last year, but this year maybe you might have to take your own risk, especially for Trump government administration, actually the status check. So I have a strong concern about any financial aid on this student status. This is very important, the page, especially discuss about cost of attendance, including tuition, room and board, book cost, transportation, fees, and personal expenses together. So entire cost of attendance amount is the maximum total needs we need to look for. However, in between students and parents' income, asset, number of household size, or parents' net worth of business or income level would be greatly considered to calculate student contribution and parent contribution together, which can be combined to finalize student aid index amount. Student aid index amount is your own liable portion from each colleges you apply for. So maximum cost of attendance it will be deducted by SAI, which is your liable portion. Then the remaining, the amount will be considered as a maximum financial aid target amount, which is calculated as financial need amount. So out of financial need amount, there's public school and private school. So public school is divided between in-state students and out-of-state tuition students, right? So in-state state students usually will be awarded around 60 to 72% of the financial need amount. The California is a little bit exceptional because of the Cal Grant A is in between 82 to 86%. And the composition-wise, the free money, we call that gifted award or grant or scholarships. There are need-based scholarship and merit-based scholarship together combined will be around 55 to 65% range. And also the remaining portion is we call the work study program or loan program, student or parents loan. But from the next year, that we have a very difficult situation for plus loan because a plus loan there will be we have a great problem because starting from July the 1st, 2026, and graduate students would not be able to apply for the graduate plus loan at all. And also parent plus loan is up to maximum of $20,000, but there is also a cap for the entire year in colleges will be maximum of $65,000. So we have a great problem, especially to send our kids to college with a need basis as well. And out-of-state tuition rate, that is a great problem because most of schools, they don't give any award. The state schools does not give any award for out-of-state students, so that actually they would pay maybe around $30,000 more in tuition because of the lack of the state sources like funding. And they will be able to award only federal portions as well. That's why, usually they could get very limited amount of financial aid, which is like literally impossible to send to out-of-state schools, even though that student got admitted and with just a normal level of income sources of each family. So private school is totally different. They have so much school endowment fund available. So private schools, they award in between 90 to 100% of the financial need amount. And as a composition wise, gifted aid, it will be around 70 to 86%. So as a result of all these comparisons, and actually student will be able to go to private school much less than net cost of the state schools. So what is the best way to apply for? Is in-state school or private school? But this is a very important diagram that you need to memorize. Okay, so next topic is college financial aid process. First of all, is you must be able to understand the financial aid formula. Formula is a very important thing because formula will calculate your own liability portion called the student aid index amount. And federal and state laws and FAFSA. What is a FAFSA? Family Education Rights and Protection Act. And definitely they have a very higher restriction to use outside sources for financial aid help. And you have to be, and also the most important part of FAFSA is you have to disclose everything you have. If you have any intentions to maximize financial aid by concealing any asset or income information, and if it is considered as intentionally wrongdoing things later, then there's a huge penalties, and even you might be confined, such as like 2 years in jail or something like that. So any student status, like the permanent resident status, might be out of the country. So you have to be very careful regarding FAFSA law. And financial X-ray is the important thing. The parent, you have to shift your paradigm. Okay, you have to check the types of income and assets based on the financial aid formula, and also family situations could be maybe special circumstances or something like that. So you have to be very careful. And where the income sources are considered to be calculated about prior years to the college registration. So let's say if anyone is applying for the next year's college financial aid, have to use last year's tax return, prior years. But as an information will be very tricky because it will be considered as a time of financial aid application process time. However, no matter what, you have a stock bonds or any CD interest incomes last year, then even though you just did, a lot of any types of financial planning to, or you might not have any financial such sources, but still school will ask you and for any explanation, and you have to be very careful when you the reply. And so the timing issue, as I told you, is very, very important thing. And then the next one is the college application selections. And I strongly recommend you to review each college's financial aid level on average. If they could award you very less of an amount of financial aid from your financial need amount, and even though you got admitted, but you're not going to select that school to go for due to financial burdens, right? So you have to also understand about financial aid process, etc. So now let's talk about a little bit more in detail. Application, first of all, we call the FAFSA free application for federal student aid, which is a federal side. And like what I said here. And next one is a CSS profile. Any school giving you a maximum financial aid, or actually the FAFSA information is very limited. So they try to extend more questions and try to find every details about your financial income and asset, including your parents' the business income and loss and asset and liability information as well. That's why they ask for CSS profile through College Board. And once you submit these informations, and there will be also another requirement for IDOC system, institution documentation service. So you have to select all those verification information and upload it to IDOC system, so they could actually distribute those informations among the joint schools who are using IDOC system. Even though it is a private schools requiring CSS profile does not require IDOC system, then you have to really follow up with such individual independent private school colleges by yourself. And some colleges, they have institutional financial aid application, and also you have to follow up income verification and expense verification as well. And also, once you receive the financial aid, you have to really consider about strategic ways of appealing process. And, or sometimes a financial hardship conditions, such as your parents actually lose your job, or any high level of health conditions or expensive medical expenses are rising. So that is a typical like a negotiation status. And then final process is like once you were awarded for student loans or parents loan, and you have to complete master promissory note and the loan counseling courses as well at the same time. So this is a FAFSA application of this year, and it will be available to arrange this FAFSA application starting from October the 1st. But actually, I'm giving you the kind of some screenshot of these pages. And this right side is a deadline for the school's FAFSA deadlines, which is equals to their state deadlines. But each state has a different deadlines. But the most important deadline is the school's priority deadline, which is much faster than state deadlines. And also, all the action, all the decision, and regular students are quite different deadlines you have. So you have to check every school's deadline by accessing their website. And this is a CSS profile. Once you access College Board, and there is the on-screen page, and actually right down side at the corner, there is a CSS profile application. You have to use your college board username and password to access this CSS profile. So you can actually check your participating school's name on the left-hand side as well. So if you just click, and you will be able to see the list of the schools, requesting the CSS profile. So the next topic is action plan. This is the most important the process that you need to really consider, like income planning and or asset planning. Most of the people, they could come up with some questions on how we can do income planning, like we just reduce our working hour, or what we have to do, or something like that. So yeah, it's a totally different way. Everything should be done by verifiable data, and it should be done through legal planning. Okay, so there are so many different ways of doing that. I'm going to introduce you how to do that. First of all, we have to understand SAI amount, like the calculation factors. Like if you see here and all the red, the shadow area is all highly calculative financial assets. And then our main idea is how we can reposition like a calculable asset to non-calculable asset, right? So that actually in asset-wise, you could reduce your SAI, the liability portion. And income side is a little bit difficult. Financial aid impact is like, I will show you. And all the red colored asset, I don't have much time today actually to go for every single bit by bit, but if you have any assets or kind of income, untaxed income is calculable by IRA deductions and even tax qualification for like a Roth IRA contributions or even pension 401k, because you are able to manageable. You could put it in, or you can decide not to do it because the school will think, and federal government will think that why don't you use your controllable the income contributions, for your financial aid. So that actually, in reality, even though you put it in and deducting as an expenses from your income tax purposes, the problem is, and actually they will actually increase your SIA amount by utilizing that amount, that contributed amount after paying the taxes. So everything will become in vain. And assets like education saving type asset, that is the biggest challenge, right? Because no matter how much lower income you have, because you have saved this asset for the purpose of financial aid, so Uncle Sam, U.S. government will definitely increase almost 3 to 5 times of this saved amount than your current cash assets you have. This is a page of a FAFSA application in paper version. And as you see, that here is, and actually you could see the IRA contribution, everything they asked for, and deductions, because simple IRA, SEB IRA, or any 401k contributions, because they are going to count on it, right, to increase your SAI. So most of financial planners or any licensed person, they misunderstand, entire the complication with all the financial aid formula. So I'm going to discuss about it later. And also student side is also the same questions. Okay? This is this year's financial aid, the question. So there are so many different changes to calculate the your SAI increase, like when they calculate your net worth up to $135,000, and your adjusted net worth amount will become 40% of it. And then that will be the geared toward calculate your financial aid liability portion, right, based on your income. And net price calculator, this is a very tricky area that most of parents, they try to access each school's website. Financial aid section, there is always a net price calculation, how much you could pay to the school after doing receiving financial aid. That is a net price, right? But many schools, especially private schools, usually they miscalculate it because if you believe that it will cost you so much and bring you biggest financial burdens, and you're not going to apply for it. So they will lose the opportunity to review your kids, so that they normally have a disclosure that some portion has not been calculated or is not the exact amount that you could be liable for. Maybe it could be may change, after reviewing your income and asset verification later, something like that. So just ignore that. So FAFSA application is like that. So you could see that there is a calculable asset and non-calculable asset. So such a reposition could definitely go toward your planning effect by reducing your SAI amount. And this is for business owners, okay? Instead of you underreport your income, which is it's not a tax avoidance, that's tax evasion, which is illegal. But if you use this type of corporate trust methodologies, and you could definitely deduct even up to annual contribution, the amount limit is kind of even up to $350,000. So how about this one? Simple IRA salary deferrals, or even 401k is not recommended, but profit sharing is recommended. The defined benefit pension or cash balance and 412(e)(3) defined benefit plan are highly recommended. So according to the owner of the business, especially your family member, the highest age being employed with a W-2 income, or even the LLC, pure LLC income, and then you could see the maximum up to the income level of 350,000. Then you could even contribute up to $351,000, which means tax deductible. So you could actually have a lot of rooms to play with this corporate trust. So you can not only reducing your taxes, you can the whatever deduction amount goes to your corporate plan. So it's not parents' income or asset; it's a corporate plan's the asset. And at the same time, you save a lot of taxes and maximize the current financial aid. So as a result of this example, this is a general contractor, like making $290,000, but he is contributing up to $210,000, 885. So he could save so much taxes. So, and also his income becomes only $90,000, so that he's eligible to receive financial aid. And also, this is another example that the husband makes $85,700 and wife generates $54,300 in W-2, and then they deducted from up to $66,500. They saved the $26,600 in taxes, and also they were able to receive almost 100% of financial aid. Okay, so what is our mission? Our mission is how we can get SAI amount lower, so that we could maximize the financial need amount to maximum financial aid. That is our main goal for college financial aid planning. So maximum college financial aid is financial aid planning is a must. Without a college financial aid planning, you won't be able to maximize your financial aid. Even though you have only W-2 income employee, but if you are maximizing your 401k to reduce your income taxes, and also trying to show your the adjusted gross income, you are making a big mistake, because you will be able to pay more than what with the status that you don't do it. So you definitely need a consultation. So it is important to measure kind of effect is for any licensed person, because without a proper financial plan licenses and to handle kind of the listed area of all the financial assets, and which is illegal. So there are so many non-professional people. They try to help student families by charging something which is illegal, and because they can only submit the application, but they can't do any types of the consultation. That's illegal. And so that look at, it's the same situation. Like speaking English will become very good businessman? Of course not. Even there are so many um well, I don't want to say. There are unprofessional persons out there speaking English, but they can't become a good businessman at all, something like that. So most of the mistakes come from non-licensed and even licensed person with not enough data and experiences. Okay, without any the data or experiences, and it's really hard to try to get you maximum financial aid at all. I'll show you the reason why later. And also, final process is evaluation, appealing, and master promissory note, and loan counseling courses and funding, and that's what I initially we gave you some information as a final process. So, how we can do maximizing college financial aid through admission rate, and in between that we have to really see the both ways of utilization based on the need basis, and financial aid process could definitely would not be able to impact college admission decision because it is need basis. Need basis is under the federal law, but these days, and I'm a little bit out about it, and unless you initially do the right planning ahead of time, okay. Yeah, any sudden changes in school could come up with so many questions last year. So college admissions and would be able to help financial aid because if you're considered as a good the preferred student to register, of course, you'll be able to get a maximum financial aid too. But advantage is you can actually utilize a financial aid to maximize your college admissions because on a college financial aid information, you have to list up all the applying schools, and actually you have to strategize by selecting the maximum college financial aid schools only there so that they could actually compete each other to recruit their preferred students. And college admissions, and of course, you can actually take advantage of financial aid because preferred students would receive the maximum. So key to success is how we can build a student profile. And profile building is important thing, and financial aid preparation for the pre-planning would be very important thing. This is kind of actual data I pulled up from our existing the clients, and actually financial aid appeal result this year, and from the here nothing to something, nothing to 47,095, nothing to 13,000, blah 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 blah. Why does this cause this type of problem? Because please do not try to understand by submitting the application is all done, usually without any planning and deep understanding about your financial aid, and then you could make any huge problem here. Even this student was receiving nothing, and even Cornell. But after the three appeals process and $78,423 free money was awarded this year, definitely. Something like that. So in understanding admission factor is important thing. Admission process is divided by three different process: academic index and extracurricular activities and personal qualification. Okay, if you look at the common application or each school's application, you could see that there are three segments like this. So admission factors, you could see that here, like a different admission factors, but will be listed on a college application. So each school has a different preference. Very important considered. And, very important is about 40-50% range of the consideration. And also important is 30-40% if those are the same and tie among the students, and then they will prefer these considered factors. But even though they are adjacent each other, the University of Chicago and Northwestern, their evaluation is totally even reversed way of the evaluation. So if you copy one application to another application without knowing each school's the very important admission factors, and there's a great chance that you will fail one of each. And as you see, the second one. And so taxonomy is a very important thing, especially this year. The UCLA, there are more than 175,000 something students and actually applied for the school, but each school has, around only less than 30 admission counselors, and usually based only about on average of 7 minutes to evaluate each student's application. They would be able to review only up to about 25,000 students only. So literally it's impossible to review every applications, right? So they have to select about up to the number of applications they could actually digest. So it is based on the spiritual way of doing it is like a point system. They evaluate each question's answers on the application as a point system. So for example, if your GPA based on 4.0 scale, 3.7 to 3.84 will be the 9 points, and so 3.85 to 4 points is a 10 points, something like that. So according to all this information, they add them together. However, if you are already 11th grade and or 12th grade rising senior, then it's too late to just do something with all the academic features, right? So you have to really think about the different strategies, how to maximize like non-academic achievement rating, like a national, international level achievement in 4 or more significant areas, you get 5 points. And state or regional is the 3 points. And significant at the area level is the 2 or more areas, that's 3 points. And once you get a 3 points and like a personal qualification rating could give you up to, clear 4 points, like a clear evidence of excellent interpersonal qualities, right? So it is much better to strategize, decide of the application, your college application. So the college recommendation is also what kind of words are included, and computer will evaluate, calculated as a point system. So what happened is, like a college application, there are over 4 million students applying among 27,000 schools, and number one school of each college is 27,000 valedictorians, and also salutarian, like second-ranked students each, and SGA president, and editors each. So if you add them together, and there are more than 180,000 students applying the high level schools together, they're competing each other. So, but each top 10 schools, including all the majors, they select only 22,000, a little bit over student range each year. So problem is that there will be only 1% difference could make a pass or fail, which it will be based on the college applications. Okay, please remember this is a very important thing. So this time of the year is a really important thing to look at your common application. Of course, this common application, the screen shows last year, but this year the information is the same. Only the ways of looking is a little bit different, more recently updated, right? So if you look at education section, go down to honors, and they will ask for the 5 achievement record. Okay, is because to calculate your point system. You see. So first step is understanding admission process. Second step is profile building. Third step is college selection. So it must be personally, socially impactful and enhance personal qualities. So leadership research achievement areas, and this is actually a screenshot of one of the widely known colleges, and it says contribution to community. Here, our advice. Advice is advice. Is more than recommendation, right? Or suggestions. They said, do not overlook the research, internship, family responsibilities, etc., as an important contributions. So must be socially impactful. And this is another idea. It's like international programs, like a Korean university this year has only about 2 to 3 weeks program in Korea for international winter campus. But they generate the college credit hours. And also the program cost is very, very small. Even one course is only $1,300 and second courses is $2,250. So just to take a screenshot of this page and then you apply there by yourself. Okay. I just found and also some of my students, they really got the nice outcome out of this. And also the accommodation on campus is only about here, one single room and double room is very 3 weeks, only 550, which is even 3 or 4 days of hotel cost. And you could definitely be able to inherit all the Korean heritage and as well as all the good experiences with academic improvement. And also this is another program we have, AGRP It's a research internship program. So it's a various areas of individual research with the IB PhDs. And also another is AI program. And there are so many students actually completed and got a really good college admission result by enhancing their artificial intelligence research areas. It must be socially impactful too. Okay, and also paradigm shift is important thing. Do not take opinions by non-licensed as an absolute. Okay, my child will take care because he or she speaks in better English. Of course not. You need to definitely understand the formula. Focusing on form and application submission. Okay, I'm done. Of course not. That is just beginning. Okay, and then once the application is submitted, the college will take care of it by automatic system. Of course not. Individually be reviewed and they have their own prejudices, you see. Think about it. If your income is only $35,000 a year, but you have $100,000 in stocks, and how do you think? CDs, of course, they are not going to give you any financial aid much at all. My income is too high. Yeah, of course, I showed you like income over $290,000, who is not eligible, but after doing a prior planning, and actually was able to receive almost 80% of entire financial aid, more than $65,000 in college free money from the school. And our income is very low, and I'll be able to write. Of course not. Even though you make $40,000, but your expense verification shows that you are spending $6,000 a month, they're not going to believe it. So you'll be in really big trouble. You have to really consider to be making sensible. Okay. And college application market with no financial aid. Some people they do it because it might affect their admission side, but if you market, then you are not going to receive any financial aid from that year point of view. And so the conclusion is we have to really strategize entire college financial aid, the venues, and definitely you should be able to maximize financial aid by pre-planning. So the conclusion is like you have to be able to self-evaluate. We developed our form. So if you contact us, and I will send you the self-evaluation form so that actually you will be able to measure how much you have a knowledge background on, this financial aid process. Okay, so my time's up, and I hope you are better the maximum the result, especially by doing pre-plannings. And if you have any further questions, you can just send me an email and with the direct questions. Okay, thank you very much, you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
So let's go ahead and do the lottery. Once again, we are going to choose 6 people for $20 each. 6 people for $20 each. Let's go to the first lottery winner. $20. Here we go. First winner is, let's see, KAHeMom7@gmail.com. KAHeMom7@gmail.com. Congratulations. $20. Let's go to our next winner. Our next winner for $20 is YJK0969@yahoo.com. YJK0969@yahoo.com. Congratulations. Let's pick our third winner of $20. Let's see who it is. Let's see. PDTshin@gmail.com. PDTshin@gmail.com. $20. Congratulations. We have 3 more winners, guys. 3 more that were coming. 3 more $20 winners. Let's see. The next one is DITCNY1@yahoo.com. DITCNY1@yahoo.com. 2 more winners. 2 more $20 winners. Let's see. Okay. Soya for Jesus at Yahoo or gmail.com. Soya for Jesus at gmail.com. And our last $20 winner. Our last $20 winner is SiennaU99@gmail.com. SiennaU99@gmail.com. Congratulations.
전문적인 리서치와 차별화된 접근 방법, 이경희 이민법 변호사, 투자이민의 EB5의 풍부한 경험에 이경희 변호사와 체계화된 멘토 시스템으로 철저히 교육받은 직원들이 여러분의 이민법 케이스를 도와드립니다.
이경희 변호사 사무실은 한 번 맡은 케이스는 끝까지 책임집니다. 항상 세밀하고 정확한 일처리로 고객분을 성심껏 도와드리겠습니다. 저희 사무실을 믿고 맡겨주시면 여러분의 케이스를 성공으로 이끌겠습니다.
투자이민 전문 이경희 이민법 변호사.
Hope. It dreams big, like really, really big. Hope sees potential when others don't. Whoa! And it can see the future. Hope is the boss of its money, but it knows what really matters. Hope is day one. Hope is everywhere you look. At Bank of Hope, we have the tools, guidance, and you got it, hope for whatever you want to achieve. So come in. Welcome to Bank of Hope.
So Marie is actually going to be talking about getting into your dream college. Follow these rules. Marie is the advisor and founder of Ivorywood Education. She was the Harvard Admissions Office staff member, Harvard College interviewer, and 2025 Harvard College Marshal, graduate from Harvard University. Here is Marie. Kim, give her your undivided attention.
Thanks so much, Jenny. All right. Well, thank you for joining to get into your dream college. Follow these rules by Ivorywood Education. We're going to dive right in here. Mike has a dilemma. So he comes to us and he says, my music theory teacher is urging me to drop band. Mike, by the way, is applying to university this fall as a music concentrator. He's been involved in the school's orchestra and in band for a couple of years. His music theory teacher basically told him, you're too good to be in band. It's a waste of your time. So just focus your interest on my group, which is orchestra. So in Mike's mind, maybe the interest that the music teacher was expressing was not looking out for what he wanted necessarily. He had confided in us and told us, hey, I really like the band. It's a different outlet. I get to sort of play a different instrument. I like the dynamic. It's a different vibe. So he really wanted to stay, especially because this is his senior year. So what should Mike do? Now, I'm going to add one important component. The music theory teacher who has known Mike for 4 years now is also agreed to write a other recommendation letter. So that's a letter that's not the academic ones, but it'll certainly go into many of his Ivy League applications. And so what should he do? We'll tell you in just a second. Okay, so a lot of these rules that I'm going to share with you today, interestingly to me, is common sense. But in over 15 years of advising students and seeing the kinds of questions and situations and also dilemmas like Mike would bring to our attention, I realized there are certain things that maybe I do that I see other winners do that not everybody knows to do. And it's because, you're not taught this in school, maybe even in the home, unless your parents are telling you to do it or sharing these tips. You may not learn ever in your life what are the things that are getting certain people a little ahead of others, even if you have sort of like the same credentials and stats. So the first thing that comes to mind is if you have people on your side, like we call them allies, right? It could be teachers, counselors, even your sort of independent tutors and outside sort of school community individuals that you've gotten to know 2-3 years, through the experiences. To me, those people are so precious, right? Just as people in your life. It has nothing to do with like, oh, what can they do for me? But the fact that in this world, that there have been people, not your family members, who have rooted for you, who have supported your success, who continue to demonstrate that they've earned your trust. For you to break that, it's not even just like, not having decency, but I feel like you are harming your future for admissions. And there's only so many of them that you're going to get in the duration of like your time in high school. So very much, be mindful of that. And in all of my years of experience, winning comes down to one thing: favoritism. Think about that. It doesn't matter if you have an IQ of 145. You can have an IQ of 120 and still beat other people. It doesn't matter if you have a lot of money. If people don't like you, behind your back, they're going to not say the best things about you in the recommendation letters. You have to earn people's favor. Winning and getting into your dream college comes down to earning their favoritism. And the more people you have on your team and on your side who wants you to win, who want that for you, you're just being smart. Aaron, on the other hand, basically signed his own death warrant. So what happens is we start advising him senior year, and he just wants help with his essays. Fine. But then we just are like checking off the list. Hey, who's writing your recommendation letters? That's when a concerned look over his face like comes over him. He's like, I should tell you this. About 1.5 years ago, there was a little scandal at my school. I got entangled in it. My parents were very concerned. They had a meeting with the head of school. And the conclusion of the meeting was this. The parents told the head of school and the dean, if my child gets expelled or suspended, then we are going to take legal action. And so there was no penalty or academic discipline, happening to Aaron. I would have never done something like that. To me, that's like so short-sighted. Yeah, you may have gotten what you wanted at that time, but you're not thinking 2-3 years down the line. So now when he's doing his recommendations, he's worried. Well, yeah, because you should have thought ahead. You know what Mike did? Mike came back to us. We didn't tell him what to do. Mike came back to us and he said, I made a decision. He said, I dropped band. As much as he wanted to stay, he dropped band. First words out of my mouth were smart. Smart. And also the right thing to do. Because if your music theory teacher offered to write your recommendation letter and she adores you, then at the very least, there's a give and take. If you just disregard what she says, think about it. And the thing is, I see people do this a lot. They betray the trust of people that have been on their team and on their side. And I think that is, again, not going to serve your interests as you're thinking long-term to get into your dream college. It'll affect everything. Like, you think along the way, you know everything that's happening. No, there's like special treatment some people get because of favoritism. Oh, I like this kid a little more, so I'm going to help him out a little bit more. But I don't like this kid. He's so annoying. So you don't ever know that, but you will find out. When you don't get into your dream school, you might want to evaluate maybe what happened. My name is Marie Kim. I am an advisor at Ivorywood. A lot of my experience does come from Harvard, but again, we work with students all across the board. I am a graduate of the college. I'm very connected to it. If you happen to have questions about Ivy League, Ivy Plus schools, including Harvard, we are a great resource to you. I am part of a team of Harvard-educated advisors, and people come to us primarily because not like they need to boost your GPA with us or anything like that. If you want to stand out through your extracurriculars, your talent, your leadership, and if you want to distinguish yourself in that regard, people start reaching out to us in 8th and 9th grade. You can still come at, later end, tail end of high school. But yeah, that's what we do to sort of like make you stand out with a distinguishing excellence. Quick housekeeping. If we mention anybody specific like Aaron or Mike, obviously they're based on true experiences, but their true identities are naturally withheld. You can always email us hello@ivorywood.com and we will be sure to reach out and respond. Okay, so the reason why you're here. So, you heard Jenny go through sort of all the concrete components of the application, like, oh, do a bunch of extracurriculars, make sure half of it matches up with your major and so forth. Good stuff, good information, follow it. But the thing is, you could do all that, get it right down to the T, and still miss the mark. So follow these rules to further maximize your odds. You can get everything right in the application and still fail. And I'm sharing insight that you're probably not going to find on a lot of websites anywhere. You're probably not going to find in any like admission strategy book. This is really unique data and conclusions gathered across over a decade, observing students very closely and analyzing what makes certain kids get into their dream school, all other things being equal. Yeah. So if you follow these rules and you are helping yourself, and the thing is, you're not getting there alone. You need other people to support you. And that's why these rules matter. And the other thing is you may be doing things right now, committing self-sabotage and not even know it, because nobody's telling you what you're doing is not forward thinking, right? Maybe your parents did things a certain way in like their country, so they're just sort of passing on their experience to you, but that may not work in this day and age of AI and ChatGPT. So again, I'm bringing you the most up-to-date insight that, again, like isn't common knowledge. And you're here because you want to win. I want to quickly say, people have this assumption, oh, if you're getting into dreams colleges, it was like luck, or probably had a lot of money, connected, some legacy. Some of those factors, sure. Perfect applications, bought the best college advising. Some of that helps. But no, those are less controllable things in some ways. All of you in the audience, and I mean this, you can get in being more intentional. And another way to think about it is to get in, it's tactical. There are certain things, and the tactics have been broken down into these rules for you. So there are patterns, habits, and behaviors of winners. And because there's only fewer of them, the majority of people who are not the winners don't always know what are the winners doing that I'm not doing. So I'm showing you what those tactics are, so that at every turn, you can flip the odds in your favor. It's going to affect, again, everything, right? Like the recommendations for sure, even leadership roles. Who's going to vote for you, right? Like who's going to pick you out of like 100 kids? It's going to affect your ranking. Like if your counselor likes you, they're going to tell you, oh, you know, you just need to take an extra college course and then you'll be number one. You just need to beat this kid, right? And accommodations, yeah, these days people ask for a lot of that. And the other thing is this, if you make some missteps, some of them with certain key people, you can't undo it. So your dreams for your dream college, you're always walking a tightrope. At least you should be. And you should be very cautious and mindful of your behavior and your actions and the consequences that it could have on you, even if you don't recognize it right now. Very quickly, I want to be clear here. I may be saying some stuff that some of you in the audience, may hear personally. No judgment passed on you here. Like maybe I say some stuff and like you've committed them. But again, if you realize that, then it's an opportunity for you to maybe evaluate, oh, should I be doing something differently, right? I'm not here to give you any other advice, but what do I see winners doing? You're here to win. So that's what all of these rules are tailored to do. And when we say dream schools, like again, it's got to match your accomplishments and credentials. So if not putting anybody down here, and you can still apply to these schools, but like if you're averaging C's throughout high school, maybe Cornell is not the dream school, right? So just viable dream schools we're talking about. Okay, this is probably the single most factor that gets in people's way to getting into their dream schools. So the rule is check yourself, check your ego. So many students, for some reason, think more highly of themselves than they maybe merit. And again, not criticizing anybody who has good confidence. That's important. You need confidence, but that confidence needs to be grounded in like evidence and reality. Just saying, oh, I'm spectacular because some people have said that to you. Okay, again, you need confidence. But if you walk into every opportunity and you go to school all the time, the way you interact, the vibe you give off is like borderline arrogance or like some sense of superiority, then that is all going to seep into how you do everything. Chester, who's exemplary, he's the kind of kid who will walk into his SAT, first shot, 1580. It's just another day for him. Right? Clearly, right? He knows what he's doing. And like doesn't get B's. Just a really sharp kid. And let me tell you the way he acts. He asks questions thoughtfully. He listens. He does more listening than this. He's listening because he's trying to learn. It's not about me, my ego. No, it's about how can I be better? So yeah, hubris can be fatal to reaching your dream college because it's going to affect how hard you work, the effort you put in, whether you choose to go above and beyond. Because if you're, God's gift to humanity and you think that, then why would you try hard? You don't need to. Because you're good enough just the way you are. Well, that's probably not going to get you into a dream college. In general, okay, how do you check your ego? It's better to underestimate yourself than the opposite. Again, like I said, you need confidence, but you need to temper that. So like one thing that'll do that is continue challenging yourself with the next goal, the next opportunity. Because I promise you, if you are doing that, because you should be to get into your dream college, you will not get everything. And each time you don't and you miss the mark, that will or should humble you. So when you are in that kind of state of mind and posture, you're naturally going to give more, which could help you ultimately through the finish line to get into your dream college. Okay, to me, this is common sense again. Number 3, like It's just the way I grew up. I feel like, though, it's not common. I see most people treating interactions like it's like, oh, what do I get out of this? Most of the time. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be like, what could I give? What could I do? What could I offer? If you come with that posture in life, right? And again, maybe you're not taught this or nobody's told you that. But if you come with that posture, people just like you more. If it's just like, oh, you know, what do I get out of this interaction and transaction? Well, you're going to come off as somebody who's, again, very sort of like calculative and manipulative and selfish. And just think about when you interact with somebody, when they're more generous and giving, it makes you want to do nice things for them. It doesn't have anything to do with college admissions. It's just, if, again, winning comes down to favoritism, whether it's teachers, classmates, counselors, people outside, we're all the same. You're cheap with somebody, they're going to be like kind of the same with you. You're the one who needs them. You're the one trying to get into the dream school. So I think wisdom begins when you realize that. I am not the one with everything yet. No, because you're not. You have not gone into the dream school yet. You still need a lot of people to help you get there. Then you should realize, I have limitations. I don't have all the power. I need people in positions of power and authority to help me. So once you realize that, then you will hopefully be somebody who's just going to be more knowledgeable about where you really stand, and then you'll act accordingly, and hopefully, you know, you'll just be more generous. And again, when they come through for you later when you need it, it's probably because of what you did and what you put in first. Okay, so I think the last thing I want to say, you know, about being giving, try to be the bigger person throughout high school, right? Like with group activity and group work, like I hear this a lot. Oh my God, my partner's not doing anything. Oh my God, it's so annoying. Like, well, then do it for them if you can. Like, stop complaining and just help them out. They might actually like think well of you because you came and helped them, right? You're wasting all this time complaining about what they're not doing when in that time you could have finished it for them. So again, those attitudes and postures will shape ultimately your own success long term. Okay, I am a firm believer of rule number 4. Go near people who are lucky. Lucky means they win a lot, they succeed, they get things in life. Okay, why is that important? Because in high school, there are winners. Winners keep kind of like getting all the stuff. There's a reason. They're positive, they attract people to them. They're action-oriented, and they involve themselves in things that make them productive. So when you get to be near lucky people, it's like a free master class. Because again, you can't pay them to be around them. And nobody's teaching you this at school. So if you get near them, you can observe their habits. How do they act? And it'll start rubbing off on you. And don't be surprised if you go near a winner, if you go near lucky people, obviously we're talking about people with good intentions who are lucky. If you go near them, don't be surprised if you start succeeding and doors open for you. Okay, the opposite is true. Avoid people who are unlucky. Okay, and again, I'm not discriminating here. This is self-preservation because again, you don't have unlimited time between now and admissions. So it's going to affect your attitude, your morale, your follow through. So what do I mean by this? I mean, again, there are people in this world in high school who complain, who blame other people. You know, they don't change their circumstances and then they waste their time. They do things that don't really benefit their future. They're usually not going to be winning and succeeding. So the more you spend time around peers like that, don't be surprised if like you start copying that behavior. Because that's all you see. So what else do you know? And people who maybe do not achieve success, it's almost like they're repelling good in their life. They're doing all the things to push it out. So my call to action this school year is, if you get to be near winners, try to be their friend. Because usually they're too busy to have a bunch of friends. Right? So if you get to spend time with them or be near them, that's good for you. Okay, set aside your ego and learn from them. And also, if you have anybody in your life who's like a Debbie Downer, that's toxic. So try your best to avoid conflict, confrontation, chaos, drama. None of that's helping you to get into your dream school. Next to your best friend, your BFF is your planner. Okay, I have been having my planner, BFF, has been with me since I was like 12 years old. It's still with me. So it is the key to my ability to stay on track and be on top of everything. You, as a student, have as much or more than I do in your day to get into your dream school. So I cannot imagine how you're keeping track of all that without a planner. Because you ain't that smart. I'm sorry, you're going to forget stuff. No, you got to write it down. Go get a planner, digital, paper. Find a system to keep track of all of your commitments. And also set the goals. Set micro goals. Do this every day, weekly, monthly. Yeah, like basically be like a machine until you get in. And if you do that, I feel like it will just have so many benefits. You won't be stressed. The reason people are stressed is they're probably disorganized. Their life is chaotic, right? Yeah, I'd be stressed too in that kind of state. You're going to also lose confidence because you're not on top of it. And if you do plan, you'll see. Don't be surprised if, again, your outcomes transform for the better. Max is a great example. So Max had a brother, died at age 45 of a fentanyl overdose. Max, for a year and a half, had depression. So he just like was gaming in his bedroom all day long. Then it finally hit him because his dad said something like wise and said, you know, you need to use your youth wisely. Like, don't squander your youth. And that's when like it started clicking. Yeah, I'm probably wasting my time. So that's when he started to get out there, out of his room. He started doing mixed martial arts. That instilled some, you know, sense of activity. Then he started like, he started hanging out with the smart kids. Yeah. And then that probably had some benefits. And then he saw what they were doing. So he started joining some clubs. The rest is history. The kid right now, he's a senior. GPA is 5.2. Number one out of a class of 700, on his way to being valedictorian. Obviously does ECAs, has a part-time job, does research at UCLA. His depression is gone now. Does he still think about his brother? Yeah. But he's got goals. He's moved on. So the way I approach my days is I prioritize. I do what's most urgent and go in that order. I don't understand some people. They do what's due later first. Like, no, do it in the order of urgency. And I tend to, this is harder to do, but I tend to do the hard stuff first. It requires more discipline and grit because you don't always feel like doing that. But like, I try to force myself, do the hard one first. Then it gets easier. Yeah. If you don't follow this rule, if you don't get a planner, if you're not organized, you will see. You're not going to reach your potential, meaning it's going to affect your chances for admission, right? Like you can be super smart, but if you're disorganized, you're only getting maybe 75% of that out of the day because the other 25% is being wasted on procrastination. So, yeah. Okay, rule 6. This is so simple. So simple. but so difficult for a lot of people. Yeah, it's amazing. All you got to do is show up. All you got to do is sit there and do it. But you know how many people make excuses for the simplest thing? You don't need to be smart to do this. You don't need any talent. You just need to show up and do it. If you put it on your schedule, go and do it. If you said you're going to do it, follow through. And for some people, that is your only edge. Because you know yourself, I'm not like a genius. I'm not like gifted like the other kid. Well, then all you got is follow through. All you got is showing up. And that I have seen get kids into Ivy Leagues. Just show up. Just do it. Because you know what? The kid who's super smart and talented, sometimes they don't do it. So that's how they don't get in. But if you happen to have genius and talent and you do it and you show up, then you're in a different, yeah. You might be hard to reach. This is easy. This is easy, okay? So it's an easy one I'm giving you. So this one is you are sort of like going through this sort of marathon for 3 years, 4 years, right? So you need a little outlet for yourself. Totally understandable, right? So have a little indulgence, like whatever it is for you. I have this kid. She's obsessed with Sunny Angels. She collects all of them. It's all over her bedroom. It's on her phone. Her family thinks it's creepy, but who cares? She likes it, okay? And I got another guy, obsessed about F1, follows it all. Probably can't afford to go actually see a race for another 10 years. But again, see, that keeps him going. It's sort of his escape. It will recharge you, keep you happy. All of that is good. So yeah, have something for yourself. I'm down to the last 2 rules. So this is rule number 8. And this is so important. This is very important. When I see the kids who succeed and get into their dream schools, they leverage parental support. So many of you are probably on this webinar today because, you heard about it through your parents. Your parents are involved. They care. They want you to have a bright future. Maybe you found out about it yourself too. Great. But when I see kids getting into dream schools, a lot of the times they had support from mom and dad. And I'll break down the 2 aspects of parental support that I continuously see pushing some kids over the edge. Yeah. And then once they get in, it's like game over. The parents felt like it was worth it. Thomas is really smart. Yeah, probably top 1%. Definitely. But doesn't get along with mom and dad. Always like tension. If Thomas had the full support of mom and dad, he could have probably gotten into like Princeton early, like a year early. That's how smart this kid is. But the dad does not really, and again, no, the dad is completely entitled to do whatever he wants. He doesn't even have to support the kid on any level, really. No, he doesn't. He could just make sure he's got shelter and food and pick him up and drop him off at school. But the dad maybe could be, in Thomas's view, helping out a little bit more, but it doesn't always work out. So what that means is Thomas's opportunities are limited because he's dependent at this stage. Tyler, on the other hand, parents admitted my kid is, mediocre, below average. But the parents supported Tyler year after year, fully. The parents just said, we just want him to get into, like a college so he can be happy and okay. Because they knew that the child had some shortcomings. The kid goes to Berkeley now. Like that, to them, this is like winning the lottery for their kid to go to Berkeley. So they've done a lot of studies on this, and there's a lot of factors in parental involvement, but the 2 that I see sort of show up over and over again, year after year, it's 2 types. parental financial contribution. Can your parents support you financially throughout your high school? Because again, let's say you're struggling with calculus. If you need a tutor, you need their support. That way you don't go from potentially an A to a C. If you want a summer opportunity, but it costs a couple $1,000s, but it will get you like hands-on experience doing spinal surgery as a 16-year-old, instead of you learning about spinal surgery in a textbook at a community college, very different. Parent financial support. The second type of parent financial support second type of parent support is the expectations your parents set. Do you live in a house where the parents' expectations are high? Because if they're high, you're going to tend to seek that approval. If it's not, I remember a student, and she had said, oh, my dad would say to me, I don't love you because of what you do. I love you because you're my daughter. And every kid wants to hear that. But that kid will also get D's and F's. And the dad will say nothing. So what can you do? What do the parents do when it comes to parental support? I think if you care enough about your future, then get along with mom and dad. Can't hurt you. What can the parents do? I feel like with parents, sometimes like they're only thinking about what they want out of the process. But I think when I see the parents and the kids who win, I feel like a lot of those parents also have like some level of like awareness of how their behavior is impacting their child's success and outcomes. So it's, some kind of emotional intelligence or other combination of skills. Yeah, you guys are in this together. So if you want to see your child get in, then you have to make sure as a parent, you're making that happen, not actually getting in the way. I'm at my last rule, number 9. There is nothing more important than a strong finish. So I know it's been grueling, 9th, 10th, 11th grade, and you're hitting senior year, and now you have senioritis. And it's tempting to maybe forego certain things, and you get to your essays, you got 50 of them, you got 20 college applications. But this is a time more than ever you have to go all in. Because otherwise, everything you did until now, it gets risked. You didn't work this hard until now, so you can mess it up in the end. And it's not just for seniors, it's like 9th, 10th, 11th, right? If you're doing a program and it was rigorous, at the end of it, finish it, get it done, submit it on time. Don't jeopardize all the work you put in until that moment. And this takes practice. It's a muscle you build. It is a kind of discipline. But when you get to the end, you must finish the end well and strong. Because again, sometimes I see this getting in the way of some people's success of getting into their dream college. So my final remarks and takeaway is, in this long sort of road and game of admissions, there's nothing that's going to be assured. So your job is at every touch point, how do you flip it in your favor? By following these rules, you are doing more of that. These rules are designed and shared with you so that you could really achieve what you've worked so hard for, right? And that's what we want. And the power is in your hands. You have the control over a lot of this. The last thing I want to say is, and it's true, some people don't realize it, but if you look at the rules, if you don't follow them, in some ways, you are your most dangerous enemy. So again, if you want to achieve what you're after, then get out of your way and do the things that will help you do that. Reach out to us if you need a complimentary orientation. We work with students, the start of high school all the way through college admissions. The applications will help you sparkle. People say our stuff for them is like magic. So again, it was a pleasure. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Marie. That was so helpful. I feel like the topics that Marie talked about are not talked about often enough. Some of these soft skills that I feel like students absolutely need to have, the grit, the resilience, the just do it factors, and personality. And I think they are so incredibly important. So I'm just going to ask two questions, which I think are kind of related that our viewers asked. So one was, these are all great. How can I build these skills for my child? Like, what are ways in which I can do that as a supportive parent? So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Okay. So remember, I think it was rule number 4 also, like be around people who tend to get their way, tend to win, tend to succeed. So I think, again, you have the control, right? Like surround yourself with people who are positive, who are doing well, because just also by association, you guys will end up sharing interests, pursuing activities. Try to go into groups and organizations where the kids, again, are like more goal-oriented, more action-oriented. They're spending time in productive ways. I think, especially for young people, they're so impacted by their peers, right? So if you can't do that for your child because the child isn't going to listen or it's not going to affect them, then put them into programs like summer programs, summer opportunities, after school weekend activities where you recognize that they've got a reputation of producing, again, like successful students, whatever it is, service, academic, right? Like pre-professional. And when this child finds themselves in this new setting, and they're around people who are like driven and they're 15 and their goal, it will start shaping them. Yeah.
I love that. And I think this kind of follows up with that question as well. Like, obviously, I think parents really do want to set them up for success, right? Putting them in these opportunities where they can be around other successful and strong-minded students. So on that note, what types of conversations can I have with my child to be mindful of their relationship? So, how do I get my child, or what kind of questions can I ask, or what types of things can I say in our conversations that might help them move forward in this area?
Yeah. So again, we're talking about dream school needs and criteria and factors, right? So if you need to get into a dream school, then typically you're going to need the support of counselors and teachers, but also like peers, right? So like, let's say for the counselor, so many kids, they don't even go see their counselor except when they need their schedule changed. And so the whole year goes by and you don't know your counselor. You haven't built anything with them. So if I were a parent, I'd be like, hey, did you go talk to Mr. Smith, your counselor? Yeah, just stop by the office. Like, let him know about your tennis match or show them the project you just finished. Like, poke your head in. It's a holiday. Hey, happy Halloween. Bring them a Halloween gram. Yeah, it's not hard. And usually the kid needs money for stuff like that. So like give them some, allowance, like, yeah, you got to kind of encourage that. Or like with teachers, like you're in the car and you're dropping them off. Ask your teacher how they're doing from, like their surgery. Just talk to them and see how they're doing. Yeah, now you actually show interest in the teacher's condition. And with your peers, like what you can say is, hey, here, I'll give you $20. Just go buy like your friends some food after school. Yeah, like why don't you just pay? Yeah. It's more like behavior and actions instead of like necessarily certain questions, but it's like you are encouraging better habits with the support you can as a parent.
That's fantastic. Hopefully our parents here and students in terms of changing your mindset and really building those soft skills were helpful. Marie gave such great information. So just want to thank you again, Marie and Ivorywood Education. And with that, we're going to go to our last lottery. So we have 11 $20 winners. And then our final lottery will be one $250 lucky winner. So let's go ahead and get started with those 11 $20 winners. Let's go with our first one. Our first winner is mkkim78@gmail.com. Our second winner. And just so you guys know, we will be contacting you via email so you can redeem these gift cards. Our second winner is eunflutech@yahoo.com. unflutech@yahoo.com. Congratulations. We still have more winners. More winners to come. Next $20 winner is Sabrina8819@gmail.com. Sabrina8819@gmail.com. Let's go to our fourth $20 winner. Our fourth $20 winner is cun.lee0714@gmail.com. Congratulations. We still have more, guys. This is our fifth $20 winner. Fifth $20 winner is Vika, VECA0124886@gmail.com. Congratulations. We still have six more $20. Let's see here. Floral24@naver.com. Congratulations, Floral24. Our seventh winner coming up. Seventh winner is benbeck425@gmail.com. benbeck425@gmail.com. Congratulations. Our eighth winner. Let's see who our eighth winner is. kchang345@aol.com. kchang345@aol.com. We're going to our ninth $20 winner. Ninth $20 winner is Soyedelis. SOYEDELISE123@gmail.com. Congratulations. Our 10th $20 winner is... 10th $20 winner, notionjung@gmail.com. notionjung@gmail.com. Congratulations. And our last $20 winner. Last $20 winner is... Last $20 winner is Rachel Y1217@gmail.com. Rachel Y1217@gmail.com. Okay, now we're on our last $250 winner. Here we go. Final $250 goes to... Let's see. Ashna0926@gmail.com. Ashna0926@gmail.com. Congratulations. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for joining us today. I hope you guys got a lot of information. We apologize for the technical challenges that we faced with the financial aid webinar, which will be available on the website, on YouTube. And that wraps up the 16th Korea Times College Expo. A huge thanks to our incredible speakers and sponsors for making today possible. Our special sponsor, Bank of Hope, our main sponsor, Admission Masters. I'd also like to thank Ivorywood Education, AGM Institute, A1 College Prep, Law Offices of Kyunghee Lee, Munseongyeong의 Monitok for supporting this year's event. If you missed any of today's seminars, don't worry. They're all available on the Korea Times YouTube channel to rewatch at your convenience. And we hope you walked away today with clarity, confidence, and real strategies to take the next step in your college journey. This is Jenny Wheatley from Admission Masters signing off. Thanks again for being with us. Have a great school year ahead, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Hope. It dreams big, like really, really big. Hope sees potential when others don't. Whoa! And it can see the future. Hope is the boss of its money, but it knows what really matters. Hope is day one. Hope is everywhere you look. At Bank of Hope, we have the tools, guidance, and you got it, hope for whatever you want to achieve. So come in. Welcome to Bank of Hope.
꿈 많은 우리 자녀, 대학 갈 때 돈 걱정 때문에 최선이 아닌 차선을 선택하게 된다면 얼마나 안타까울까요? 학자금 정책에 대해서 정보가 부족해 부모의 은퇴 플랜을 깨트려가며 대학을 보내시는지요? 부모의 은퇴도 안전하게, 아이들 학자금도 푸짐하게 한 번에 준비할 수 있는 재정 상담과 플랜이 절실합니다. 여러분은 자녀의 성적만 케어하십시오. 자녀의 학자금은 문선영의 머니토크가 케어하겠습니다.
Feeling overwhelmed by the college admissions process? Pause and breathe. Admission Masters is here to illuminate your path to success. Our mission? To arm you with strategic tools and tailored advice that unlock your potential and sculpt your academic future. Picture our counselors as your personal navigators, expertly steering you through the admissions maze while amplifying your unique strengths. Remember, education is more than just grades. It's about comprehensive growth. We're committed to nurturing both your academic prowess and personal development, ensuring you're well-rounded for the journey ahead. Embark on your college admissions journey with Admission Masters, where our experience, dedication, and commitment to your success converge to transform your application into something truly extraordinary. Are you ready to reach new heights and turn your dreams into reality? Let's achieve greatness together.
AGM은 미국 내 최고 수준의 학자금 재정 프로그램과 아이비 대학 연구진의 ARIP AI 인공지능 인턴십 프로그램을 운영하고 있습니다. 아이비 출신의 최고 강사진이 직접 지도하는 과외 프로그램과 글로벌 리서치 프로그램으로 자녀의 성적 향상을 책임집니다.
미주 최초로 자체 개발한 고객 관리 시스템과 1,900개 대학 이상의 각종 데이터베이스를 여러분과 공유하겠습니다.
지금 바로 웹사이트에 방문해 보세요. 자녀의 미래가 달라집니다.
Hi, my name is Est, head college counselor at A1 College Prep. Just as college admissions committees in the US utilize a holistic, comprehensive review process to evaluate student applications, at A1 College Prep we guide students using an individualized, multifaceted approach. Currently, we're offering a scholarship opportunity for eligible students for up to $5,000. Please reach out to us here for any inquiries and to learn more about this scholarship program.
전문적인 리서치와 차별화된 접근 방법, 이경희 이민법 변호사, 투자이민의 EB5의 풍부한 경험에 이경희 변호사와 체계화된 멘토 시스템으로 철저히 교육받은 직원들이 여러분의 이민법 케이스를 도와드립니다.
이경희 변호사 사무실은 한 번 맡은 케이스는 끝까지 책임집니다. 항상 세밀하고 정확한 일처리로 고객분을 성심껏 도와드리겠습니다. 저희 사무실을 믿고 맡겨주시면 여러분의 케이스를 성공으로 이끌겠습니다.
투자이민 전문 이경희 이민법 변호사